Good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to Hot Atlanta. We're just a few days removed from our coverage of the NASCAR iRacing.com Pro Series event right here at Hampton, Georgia. And now it's time for the drivers of the real sim racing Icebreaker Winter Series to take to the virtual high banks of the Atlanta Motor Speedway for tonight's Atlanta 125, presented by Hippie's Paint Shop on LSRTV at iRacing Live. We're happy to have you with us as we bring you topside to our virtual Inside Sim Racing TV broadcast hour. Evan Pasoko alongside Jacob Seelman, Andy Kessler, and RSR driver analyst Thomas George with you tonight as we take on a hot and slick Atlanta track and beat cars for, based on what the drivers are telling us so far, could it be an interesting mix of a little bit of strategy and a little bit of excitement to keep us balanced?
Yeah, it very well could be, Evan, and good evening, everybody. This has the potential to be, just like the Pro Race, a very wild and wacky event tonight. It's a longer race than what we saw during the RSR Full Throttle Cup Series event here back in March, and that's really going to test these drivers. A couple of pit stops that we're going to have to see tonight, and the possibility of long green flag runs, though I'm not completely sold that we're going to get there just yet. And Andy, I want to turn to you for a second and ask this. What do you think is more likely that we get to see tonight? I know Evan and I were talking about it pre-race. Do we see a long green flag run, or, as Thomas said, do we see all heck start to break out?
Well, the potential's there, obviously. If they can get through the first 10, 15 laps and everybody kind of figure out where they're going to be and get in the line that they want to be, you definitely could see green flag runs. This track can produce that. The problem some of these guys are having with the hot track conditions here, almost 110 degrees right now, is that the cars are getting real tight. They're running real good on the bottom. It only lasts for a few laps. Tires start to wear out. You're going to see guys conserving the tires up top, so it's going to be interesting to see how things actually shape out, but it most definitely could end up being some green flag racing. And with that being said, green flag pit stops, they said, I talked to a couple of drivers, around 30 to 35 laps. They could go 50, but I get the tire wear is just that bad on these things.
Evan, I want to throw this little nugget at you. I know we're 4 days prior to Christmas here, and this is going to be the last LSR TV broadcast before the holidays, but you were talking about a hot and slick Atlanta Motor Speedway. I'm somehow not buying that. Isn't this supposed to be like 1993 when we had a blizzard and postponed the race a week?
And it's been the opposite on the sim. Again, Andy said 109 on the track temps. We have seen the highest track temps that we've ever seen on this sim as of about now 2 weeks almost on this newest build that we've seen. And it's been quite challenging for these guys. But I think the last time we were at Atlanta and we saw that pro race there, and I've seen a couple of other guys take a couple of races here in and around the service the last few weeks. And Atlanta's always fun. It's going to be an interesting race for sure, Thomas. Interesting is a word that we throw around a lot, and it can be used in many different manners. Iowa last week was interesting. I'm hoping it's not the same interesting that we see here tonight. You're thinking that this race is going to be a lot more competitive, though.
Yeah, Atlanta is known for, I would call it a driver's track. I personally love racing here. I mean, everybody's talking about how hot and slick it is and how tight the cars are off the center of the corner, and to me, that just makes it a better show. It kind of tests what the drivers can do, how they're able to handle the car, how they're able to conserve the tires, and it's just one of those deals. I think it's going to be a lot more competitive. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a big wreck early on, but if we do get that big wreck early on, they'll take out probably a good amount of cars, and after that, it should be a green flag run for a lot of this race. But we'll see what happens tonight, but I think we're going to have a better race this week than Iowa.
We look forward to it for sure. We're on tap for 125 laps in tonight's contest, and as Jacob mentioned, we did 122 here earlier on in 2015 for the Full Throttle Cup Series, so it is quite a long race for these B cars. Right now, the guys hot lapping in the lower to high 29 bracket right now in the open qualifying session. It's Daniel E. Eberhardt topping the charts with a 29.597 with just over under 2 minutes left to go until we do officially set the grid for this Atlanta 125. So with that, we're about set to rock and roll. We're happy to have you with us. We'll go down trackside and get tonight underway with the singing of our national anthem to Jaden Berkey.
Perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Back at the virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway, the qualifying session just 10 seconds away from drawing to a close, so the drivers out there on their final hot lap to try to improve their best starting spot possible. We're looking at about 35 drivers getting set to take to the track in this one. No surprise that a lot of the big names looking up at the front so far in queue.
Yeah, qualifying obviously getting set to finish up here. Some good times put up on the board, and in practice, I noticed here too tonight, Evan, the competition is really stiff. Almost a tenth of a second separated the top like 15, 16 drivers. So, and it's looking that exact same way in qualifying. So, some expected, obviously, they could utilize the drafter in qualifying and practice. So, look for the draft to definitely come into effect here during this race also.
Hippies Paint Shop proud to present the Atlanta 125. It's race 4 of 10 on the 2015-2016 Real Sim Racing Icebreaker Winter Series campaign, and it starts now on LSRTV. Let's take a look trackside at your starting grid, and that bad boy buggy Chevrolet going to be able to hold on for the pole. Eberhardt will lead us across the start-finish line tonight to get underway. Austin Yarbrough will start outside front row in P2. Scott Eckridge going to roll into number 3 spot, the fastest driver in practice inside on row 2 to the inside of 4th place qualifier Adam Bedefield, and William Amica rounds out our top 5.
How about rolling 6th tonight, the 15 of Jeff Ward, the Kentucky Bandit. Dwayne Vincent, the RSR Full Throttle Cup Series champ, rolling 7th. 8th to the 17 of rookie Nicholas Orth. 9th, the gmercer.com 93 EJ O'Rourke at the controls. And Chad Cole, former Full Throttle Cup champ, 2-time Icebreaker champ, rounds out the top 10.
11th through 15th tonight on the starting grid. It would be the 92 of Brian Terry. Matt Lacrosse, Stephanie Lessentine will roll off in that 13th spot. 14th, Nelson Rivera, and Francisco Scaramuzza will start 15th.
16th tonight going to go to William Hale, Brent McBride 17th, 18th to Mike Kelly, David Comstock at 19th, and 20th Jimmy North.
Behind Jimmy North, 21st tonight, going to be the 91 of Greg Elmo as cars start to roll. Mike Montesi, 22nd. 23rd tonight, Kevin Linden. Joseph LaPlaca, 24th. Paul Fugate, 25th.
26th tonight will be the 43 Doug Roth. Dale Rentz will start 27th. 28th to Nick Silver. Last car to take time would be 29th position is Jason Swan. Tyler Hurd, Anthony DeBarro, Corbin Himstreet, Mike Rominger, Tom Dreierling, and Douglas Wyatt round out the 35 car field.
It's a race that we've seen in the past two Icebreaker Winter Series campaigns. In 2013, Chad Cole picked up the checkered flag, and last year, Brian Backlund went to victory lane. This race, by the numbers, will average 15 lead changes at about 9 cautions per race. So far in the 2 times we've seen this, we're seeing about a yellow every 14 laps. That's going to be a big dictator in the strategy in which this race will play out. We're happy to have you with us on LSRTV at iRacing Live, the American Childhood Cancer Organization. Ford Mustang GT pace car down, out of the way, green flag, the Atlanta 125 underway to turn number 1. Good jump for the inside lane, Donnie of Everhart. He'll pull out in front. Not the best go at it, though, for Eckridge. He was slated P3. He'll fall to 4th. 54.83 duck in front of him.
And they're already cycling out 2 by 2 and almost 3 wide back in the pack, but the challenge for the lead is going to go to the outside early in turn number 3. Austin Yarborough, the Jack Daniels entry, took a look to the outside, could not make it work. Going to fall back in the line, lap 1, going to the 90. Eberhardt at the controls and at the point of this field as they cross the stripe. Car length advantage, back to 1, challenge for second. Adam Benefield taking a peek up top.
And the first driver to lift and all of that is the 70 of Scott Eckridge. They were full throttle, still most of them all the way now down the backstretch at lap number 2. Yarborough closed the gap. There was about a car length battling for the race lead. Eberhardt, though, was able to keep that car planted on the bottom of the racetrack. These cars handle very good on fresh tires. They're going to fall off quickly on a green flag run, but at least now, no major problems. Top sign for the Donnie to defend that spot in which he wants to maintain in the race lead. Everybody else, though, inside of the top 10, single filed out already as they try to stretch their legs and get this race underway. Leaders already pulling out to a good gap over everybody else. No fights, though, top 10.
And just a swap for position right now, the 69 of William Amaker. He's going to get around Jeff Ward there off of turn number 4. So a small little swap of positions right there for that top 5 spot. Other than that, these guys talked about here most of this race, or at the beginning of the run, like you said, with his fresh tires, making it happen. As we got a battle for the lead shaping up off turn 2. Yarborough, he's going to look to the inside as they head back to turn 3.
Yeah,
he said that inside is where he wants to be in that 54. Left side tires on that white lawn. 90 swinger wide. He ducked to the bottom. They'll stay on each other's door through turn number 4. We'll see if the 24 degrees of banking is enough to give Eberhardt the advantage. He'll have a nose, but inside for Yarborough, he's not giving up. And with this side by side, now Benefield joining the picture from 3rd. 54, though, going to get her clear at a turn number 2. Slides up, completes the move.
And that's as tight a squeeze as you'll see anywhere as the Jack Daniels machine slides through to take the spot. Eberhardt taking a peek, but a very defensive line right to that white line goes the 54 of Yarborough, who takes the top spot away here with 5 laps complete, going on board with the 90 of Daniel Eberhardt as he hunts the lead. We go back to 1. You get a look at 24 degrees of banking.
Benefield stays locked to the bumper. You see the exact same thing. Now it's a role reversal. That time, Yarborough steps it up the banking to go high side to get the run off of the back straightaway. The 90 car keeps it a little bit tighter, and it is now the 90 on the inside, 54 top side, and Eberhardt likes that inside lane. It's where he ran when he was out in clean air. No question, he'll slide up in front and take the race lead back. No immediate challenge from Austin Yarborough to peak to the bottom. The 54 does, though, give him a nice little push down the front straightaway. Let him know he's there. The top 4 drivers, I did mention your leaders pulling away. Your leaders is really your top 5 because the top 5 are not separated from each other at all. Pretty much bumper-to-bumper traffic from Eberhardt through Yarborough and Benefield that we've been talking about, and then as well Eckridge and Amaker with an half a second just behind P4 and 5.
I'm sure Thomas can vouch for this, being more of a driver than probably any of the 3 of us, but the draft here at Atlanta comes into effect, and that's probably why the top 5 guys can stay like this, right?
Yeah, and it's a factor that these cars are less, they got a little bit less horsepower than the Cup car that I drive on a regular basis, and even the trucks are a little bit less horsepower than these. So the thing about it is when you have that less amount of power in the engine, these cars are more momentum based, and the draft in this series is very important, especially at 1.5 tracks. But you're starting to kind of see the leaders split up just a little bit now. They were nose to tail pretty much right on their bumpers, but you kind of seen that tire fall off just begin to factor in. This car's getting a little bit tighter and tighter. It looks like the 54 is trying to make a run back on that 90 there, so may not have anything said yet.
historically at this track too. When those tires begin to go, they're going to go very quickly. Your top three, though, are still very tightly packed together. They continue to march around at the front of the field now on lap 10. A lot of fighting back in the pack. Let's look for P18, top side, the 85 of Cisco Scaramuza. Started in 15th and 19th right now. He's in the wrong lane. Bottom of the racetrack for the 45 of Mike Montesi. Montesi's got La Placa, the 43 of Dogroth. Everybody lining up to team up on the 85. And Montesi gets slide up in front of Scaramuza. A little bit of a tap that time at a turn number 2. But at least at this moment, that LSRTV 2 Chevy top side not in the preferred lane, as now to the bottom goes La Placa. That battle out of P4. 6 seconds off your race leader. It's for 19th.
Yeah, that battle continues to rage on, and now I'm watching a battle for second off turn number 2. Adam Benefiel in the 83 says it's time to roll. He takes his machine to the bottom of the racetrack, going to take a look on the 54 of Austin Yarborough. They go door to door as they exit turn number 4. Benefiel with an ever so slight advantage, and he's going to have a nose out in front at the start-finish line all the while Daniel Eberhardt starts to run away by 2 car lengths. But Thomas, you've watched Adam race enough to know this is basically what he does. He'll feel the car out the first 10 or 12 laps of a run, but if he feels like he's got a good piece, he's going to take it right to the front and stay there.
Yeah, Adam is like one of the many veterans that you've ever seen in the field tonight. Along him and Dwayne Mason and Chad Cole, that's their preferred style, and there's a lot of others that race like that too. But as a driver with a lot of experience, he's definitely was feeling out what the car was doing, what he could do, and he also was probably saving a little bit something too. It didn't look like he was saving anything running in the top 5 there, but they're the ones that know how to drive these cars, and Adam is one of the best. He is really good on these hot, slick tracks. Was evident back in Phoenix a couple of weeks ago in the Full Throttle Cup Series. He was one of the best cars out there, and it's no different here. These hot, slick tracks where the tires start falling off. You see he's able to get around that 54 with relative ease, and he's starting to pull away just a little bit. So he's probably saved a little bit of something for that 90 car, but the way these Xfinity cars handle, he's gonna have a little bit more of a challenge catching that 90 and passing him and being able to pull away from him too. But he knows what he's doing.
As you start to say, it's going to be a challenge to catch him and pass him. Benefiel closes the gap to a car length, Thomas, and that Roll Speed Dynamics entry really starting to make a little bit of time, a little bit of speed right now. Another name that I'm kind of surprised at, Evan, as they nearly make contact in turns 1 and 2. Going for the same piece of real estate. A name I'm surprised at is sticking up at the top 5 right now. That's 70 of Scott Eckridge in 4th. He's doing a nice job hanging tough with these leaders as a rookie and, trying to make some speed as the battle for second starting to heat up again just ahead of him.
And by being that fastest driver in practice means that his lap time better than everybody else evidently. Got that 29.646 in practice. So because of that, we know he has a fast car, had a pretty good Q effort. So the big question for him would be what that car does under race conditions. He's still doing a pretty good job right now as all of these guys continue to chase down the 90 of Eberhardt. Eberhardt has had to battle a little bit. The 83 of Benefiel, as you guys had described, he's been a little bit more conservative in the opening lap. So sideways that time, though, at a turn number 4, Yarborough ran at a racetrack. He's got to roll out of it. The 70 car to the inside. He'll try to block the 93. We'll go 3-1 in turn number 1. Bottom for E.J. O'Rourke. Top side is Amaker. The 54, the 69. They beat and bang at a 2. And somehow in all of that, Yarborough will still end up in front of that group of race cars that he is with. But he got absolutely tackled in turn number 1 as they all jumped on him at once. He'll somehow lead him out of turn number 4. Took some defensive driving, though, Andy, to hang on to that one. And he'll now leave the 93 of O'Rourke to fight with Amaker behind him.
Yeah, it took a lot right there to keep that spot. And it looks like E.J. O'Rourke's actually got a pretty fast car. Him and Ward at the beginning would look like they were saving some tires. Looks right there that E.J. O'Rourke, though, got a little tight coming off at turn number 2. That's going to lose him some momentum, which we already talked about as a huge thing at this track. He'll lose a position to Jeff Ward right now, but Amaker it looks like he's got a faster car than the 54, but Yarborough's just running the line he wants now. As he looks to the inside, he might have an opportunity now as they head back to 1.
And a couple of fights going on in front of him. You mentioned Amiker trying to get to Yarbrough. That 15 at Jeff Ward behind them, though, kind of quiet so far. Started at P6, sits P6 at the moment. He was digging it in turns number 3 and 4. He was right up on his door, and this battle continues inside of the top 5. To the bottom of the racetrack goes William Amiker. 3 wide back for around P20. All eyes top 5, though, with Amiker and the 54 of Yarbrough continuing to battle. Now a 3-car race, and sideways problems for Adam Benefield. Now down to P3 after he found the fence in turn 4.
He found a good piece of the fence in turn 4, Evan, and he's going to lose a few more than just that second spot. He's going to drop all the way back to about 6th right now, just ahead of the 93 of E.J. O'Rourke. He's got Jeff Ward to his inside. He's got Austin Yarbrough just ahead of him, and now Benefield going to slot in and try to start moving back forward as Yarbrough is really getting used up right here. Jeff Ward almost shoved him right out to the fence off the exit of turn 4. The 15 and the 54, rather, going at it for position. That's just inside the top 5.
We always talk about how important the aerodynamics are on these race cars, Thomas, and for that 83 at Benefield, got a pretty good lick in turn number 4. More so maybe just handling issues when that happens as far as the aero disadvantage he finds himself at, because he's struggling to 54, not with the best exit that time, so it'll allow Benefield to get there. But you saw that 93 O'Rourke, who has actually fallen off of this group, quickly get to the back of Benefield. He's going to have to nurse that right side of that race car till he can come down and get it fixed, if he even has the availability to get some optional repairs on that car.
Yeah, and if you get any kind of damage on that right front, which it looks like he has just a little bit of a crinkle in there, just even the slightest little bit can cause the aerodynamics of these cars to shift unbelievably. But it also factors in possibly, there might be a possible issue with the toe now. Might not be turning as well as he wants to, as he's losing positions here to Dwayne Vincent now as well. So that damage seems to have probably affected that car more than initially let on. It doesn't look like much, but the problem with these cars is that they're so aerodynamic dependent that even just that little bit of damage has caused you to fall back, especially in cars that are momentum based like this.
And 2 drivers in this fight that we haven't mentioned quite yet tonight. A little bit of a contact maybe between the 21 and the 83. That was Lacrosse, who came up the bottom side of Benefield, slid up in lawn, maybe brushed him on the front end. They keep going and now to the bottom of the racetrack. Surprisingly quiet for Dwayne Vincent, but not really. This is exactly what he has done all season long en route to 2015 Full Throttle Cup Series Championship, and that is ride his own race, not force the issue early. He's racing around some guys, though, that are not going to roll over and give this one up. The 93 of O'Rourke side by side with the 13 in turn number 4. This battle just behind Yarbrough, who actually tags the fence in front of them. So the battle for P number 6 continues inside of the top 10, and it's drawing quite a crowd with 4 drivers in it.
Yeah, and behind them, Evan, the battling is not getting any less fierce. Battle all the way back. I know it seems like it wouldn't be a scrap, but 27th and 28th right now. All these guys on the back end of the top 30 are really fighting hard for every position. Stephanie Lessentine and Rhett McBride were just side by side for almost an entire lap. Lessentine in the 78 gets out in front of the 2 of McBride now, and behind them, Kevin Linden and Paul Fugate, the 48 and the 44, continue to put on a scramble. All this is going on nearly 10 seconds behind the race leaders, but who says every position isn't important? It looks like they're racing for the lead back here, Andy, but you've got to consider, for some of these guys that may not have the speed to go up and run with the front runners, this is their race. They want every position they can get because it's pride for them.
Oh, absolutely, and you never know what's going to happen ahead of you either. So every position matters. You don't know how quick the leader's going to get on you and start lapping you. So every position is very crucial, and you see that pack of about 8 to 10 cars all going at it. And just ahead of them, around the 15th spot, you got another 5, 6, 7 cars there. We got these small little packs that are really battling hard, even just around the top 10 from like 6 back to 10.
Race leader, the naughty car, Eberhardt, just got turned from the top spot at a turn number 4. Eckridge had been closing in on him. Now the 70 car spinning in turn number 1. Caution flag is out, and a big wreck. Involved in that is William Hale, as well Brian Terry. Caution flag is out, and Daniel E. Eberhardt from the race lead. This battle had been going on for about 3 laps waiting to get to it, and that 90 machine stepped up the hill too early in turn 4. That car would not stick. We saw that a couple of times, Thomas. That time, though, not enough room for that 90 to recover, and that 70 of Eckridge was closing, and just when he gets to the left rear is when the 90 has that bobble, and your top 2 guys get together all by themselves.
Yeah, and they were both continuing good runs from last week at Iowa. And the 90, actually, I mean, obviously he got taken out, but he doesn't have any, what appears to be any damage. That 70 actually got the worst end of the deal, unfortunately for him. But it was around lap 30. These tires started falling off, and they just got tight off of turn 4, and you're battling for the lead. You go and give it everything you can. And unfortunately, I think gave just a little bit too much, and now it puts the 90 back in a precarious position. That 70 is probably going to not get the result he wants at the end of this one.
Jeff Ward going to bring us down pit side as he assumes the race lead from the number 6 spot on the grid. And once these caution flag laps are accounted for and we go back green, this caution will take us through quarter distance in this Atlanta 125. But leaders, Andy, all headed down pit side, and based on those tires really going away, I'm expecting 4.
That's exactly what we talked about at the beginning of the race. It actually worked out pretty good for all these guys. Is that as Yarborough's having problems in his pit stall in the 54 and the backup turn. He's going to lose a ton of time. He hasn't even started service yet on that machine. But as our leaders drop and head out 4 tires of fuel, but we talked about this around that lap 30, 35 mark was probably going to be about all these guys could run on tires. So I think this first caution right about that spot where these guys wanted to be anyway. So probably a good thing it happened when it did, I guess. But as far as the guys who were involved in the big carnage there in turn 1 after Eberhard got hit his spin off of turn number 4, a lot of cars were involved. Heavy damage. The 92, it looked like a couple other guys there. I can't remember the numbers, but a few guys there getting. I think it was a 26 was involved. But just a lot of carnage for some of these guys. Hopefully they can get it bent out and get back on track. But obviously the aerodynamics aren't going to be what they need to be competitive.
And we almost avoided a lot going on there in that accident. Again, your leaders got together, and we were okay until unable to save that car after it continued to go out of whack for Scott Eckridge. Went around in turn number 1. Both he and as well at-time race leader Daniel Eberhard, they have gone 1 lap to the negative. Eberhard actually right now sitting in front of your race leader behind the base car. So he'd be set to take away by still be in this thing, but the damage is going to continue to plague him all night long. And we continue to mention how these race cars are very aerodynamically sensitive and how they're very momentum based. And you combine that with the racetrack that, because the speeds are just so high, is also very momentum based. If you had to choose an intermediate racetrack to not have damage at, it'd probably be this one.
Yeah, that would be one that you wouldn't want damage on. And I know that Thomas had talked about that earlier with even just the slightest bit of wrinkle in that front corner, that the damage in the aerodynamics in the toe could even be off on some of these guys, which would cause them to have some issues turning and have tight conditions already. Just to have any slight bit of issues to make it even tighter, it's just going to make it that much harder to drive and to control all night.
I'm not sure if we are to cue the Jaws music quite yet or not, but the Firehouse subs forward of Chad Cole, P10 to P6 through all of this. He is your defending race winner here at Atlanta in the Real Sid Race at Icebreaker Winter Series. He is continuing to close in, and he'll be on the outside of row number 3 for this. Actually, we get bumped up a spot. I believe that was Tom Dryerly may have stayed out. An additional lap came down. All your leaders get a bump up. It'll be Jeff Ford to P1, Dwayne Vincent now in second, Matt Lacrosse third, EJ O'Rourke fourth, all of the 13 to 21 out of 93. Kind of worked their way up to the field together. Then you'll find Chad Cole back at P5. Behind him, though, quite the amount of big movers. You got Mike Kelly, who's up 12 spots, Jimmy North plus 13, and Mike Montesi plus 14 inside of the top 8. But your biggest movers, 10th and 11th, that's Anthony DeBarro and Tyler Herr from 31st and 30th to being on the outside of row number 5 and inside of row number 6.
That's definitely big movers right there for those guys. And you look at that whole front of that field right there, Evan, and that's a whole lot of veterans right there. It's early, but it's not surprising to see these top guys at RSR up there up front this early.
Still plenty of time, but this will be quarter distance in the Atlanta 125 as the pace car gets down and we look for our first American Ethanol restart on the night. Jeff Ward on the loud pedal, the 15 Chevrolet set sail, green flag in the air, back underway we go. This time, a lot better jump for the guy inside row 2. That's P3 for Matt Lacrosse. The Michigan Wolverines car going to go up to P2. He's got all the momentum. There's big problems behind your leaders.
Trying to get a number off of who that was there, Evan, but that was a big mess right there, right off a restart. So looks like he got caught right on the apron. I still can't see the car number, but looks like he just touched the apron right there, or something happened. It looks like maybe the 45 of Mike Montesi was the one that had the issues.
His National Guard Ford going to go around. He must have missed the shift, though, Thomas, or something, because he was going, and then he wasn't going. So he was really getting run over, kind of found himself in a 3-wide situation, and kind of came down across the nose of Tyler Herr, although the driver of the 55 is going to claim responsibility for that. That all started when Montesi got checked up, getting up to speed.
Yeah, it's hard to say for certain what happened to the 45 there of Montesi. He had it could just been a matter of missing a shift or something going wrong, and I think every driver at some point has had that happen to him, but it could have also been a factor of some of these guys that are, back here, like the 90, the 55, they're trying to get going, trying to get every position they can. They might have timed the restart just right, but especially, and I think the 45 is also on the outside lane, if I'm not mistaken, which here in Atlanta is never really a good place for it to be, even if you're back in 10th, because that second place car usually never gets a good jump on the leader. So hard to say for certain what happened there, but just a tough break for the 45 National Guard Ford.
And the leaders, they know they want tires, but tires not half a lap important. So everybody going to stay out at the front of the field. Jeff Ward will pace behind the American Childhood Cancer Organization pace car. With that, we'll take this opportunity under our second caution flag on the night to step away and take a quick commercial break. More action from the Atlanta 125 in a moment. You're watching LSRTV's coverage of the Railroad Racing Icebreaker Winter Series presented by Hippie's Paint Shop on iRacing Live.
While lions are notorious for their voracious appetites, they spend a great deal of time feeding other creatures. In fact, lions will take great care to ensure there's plenty to go around. As you can see, they keep giving with utter ferocity. Bravo, lions, and bon appetit. Do good, be a lion.
Being the best, what it looks like to be a cut up of the...
Our research shows drivers won a league with no
cheating,
kids wrecking me,
admin favoritism, multiple fast repairs,
intentional wrecks.
Drivers we interviewed also won a league with
clean competitive racing, clear-cut rules,
enjoys having all the drivers,
a full field of drivers,
end-of-year cash purse,
follows the rules on a constant basis.
At Domino's TYJ Racing, we listened to the drivers and created a league with high integrity and professionalism, just like Domino's Pizza has maintained for the last 55 years. Claim your share of the over $3,000 purse by applying today at Domino'sTYJRacing.com for one of the few remaining Cup car rides or your seat in our action-packed truck series.
Yo, I dropped the 88. Ricky Bobby, shake and bake. Sleeping on it, should've stayed awake, huh?
Back trackside at the virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway, it's race 4 on the 2015-2016 RSR Icebreaker Winter Series campaign tonight at Atlanta. The Atlanta 125 working under our second caution flag of the evening. This one coming immediately after the first one. Jeff Ward is still out in front with the swap of position, though, inside of the top 5 there on the drop of the green flag. We will find Matt Lacrosse's number 21 Chevrolet topside on the front row P2. E.J. O'Rourke then finds himself inside of row number 2 in the number 3 spot overall. Dwayne Vincent still up there. We talk about seasoned veterans. Mike Kelly is right in the middle of this hole in that Exalta Chevrolet. He's got Chad Cole topside. That's the defending race winner. Behind him, Jimmy North, Anthony DeBarro, 2 names that have been digging through the field will make up row number 4. They look to go to the positive on this restart again, but based on what we saw last time, the inside, if you can get going, the place to be when you're getting up to speed, because these guys aren't going to be lifted for a little bit.
No, they're not. And, you know, Evan, that's going to be the key. Restarts are going to be key tonight. We saw a really long green flag run to open this up. Unfortunately, as we were talking pre-race, I have a feeling that time may be over now. Now that we've started to see this get broken up by a couple of caution flags, I tend to think that's going to be the rhythm that we're going to get into, maybe for a little while at least. I hope I'm wrong about that, but you know, you've got veterans and rookies alike, and all of them want to go for the same real estate, because really right now, if you want to save tires and be fast throughout the run, Evan, there's one place, or one line rather, and one line only to really be quick, and it's that transition line. Start at the bottom, move to the top, get back to the bottom again as we come to the green.
Green flag will drop at lap number 37, and Jeff Ward is well out in front of the fight that'll be for second. Lacrosse got P2 from third on the inside last time. O'Rourke trying to repay the favor, digging to the bottom of the racetrack. He'll make it a side-by-side fight as they get up to speed. Battle for second, about 7 car lengths behind your race leader. 2 wide, 2 rows deep. As to the bottom goes Mike Kelly, and Dwayne Vincent topside. It's for second, it's for fourth, and it's down in turn number 3.
Going to be little doing right there for that second spot. E.J. O'Rourke able to get around Matt Lacrosse right there. The battle for fourth, though, continues to be a side-by-side battle. The 0-2 of Kelly right there on the inside of Dwayne Vincent. And the poor guy that's got to watch all this happen is Chad Cole, and he's just sitting there trying to figure out which way to go. You know he's not going to push it 3 wide this early, but now him having to let up as Vincent takes that spot away from Kelly. That leaves his mirror full of another driver. That's the 84 of Jimmy North, now looking to the inside of Cole off turn 4.
And Chad Cole found RSR victory lane 2 weeks ago. He's been at the top of the championship standings ever since. He's methodically making his way through the field, but a good move by that 84 to Jimmy North to take that spot from him. And he's getting teamed up on right now. The 54 of Austin Yarbrough trying to get back going forward. We talked about mistakes. The 54 had a mistake on the pit lane, cost him some time. That's why he fell outside of the top 10 after running a top 3, top 5 car for the majority of those opening 30 laps on that green flag stretch. He'll get a bot on the number 8 machine, so he'll complete that pass, and now the 50 winner Nick Silver in the inside on Chad Cole. All of that going on inside of the top 10. Meanwhile, they look like they're doubled up for a restart outside of the top 15. The 18 on the bottom of the racetrack rather than the 78 of Stephanie Lessentine. 43 topside and Doug Roth, Eberhardt, Comstock, and as well Benefield, some of the names in that mix.
Yeah, some of the names in that mix as we continue to watch things get shaken up and shuffled up. A couple of big movers here early on in this race. I say early on, we're about at the 1/3 mark of this race now, this time by, as Ward and E.J. O'Rourke starting to establish a lead along with Matt Lacrosse over the rest of the field. But a couple of guys I'm watching that have been brilliant early in this race, Evan. 2 names. The 84 of Jimmy North, who's worked his way from started 20th and up to the 6th position in a very, very strong run.
Oh, Eberhardt behind the 90 car. Big accident in turn number 3. The caution flag will fly again. And for Daniel E. Eberhardt, he can't find a way out of trouble. That was that battle that we had been watching the lap prior, side by side, about 3-4 rows deep. They kind of got checked up just a little bit into turn number 3, and it looked like Benefield barely got onto the left rear of Eberhardt. Eberhardt breaks sideways. He actually hangs on to it, hooking the number 78, though, of Stephanie Lessentine hard up into the wall. The caution will come, though, from Adam Benefield, who was into the outside wall. David Comstock is going to be involved in that accident, and that is the risk you take, in which you have a mistake, you find yourself back in a pack in traffic, and that's exactly what happens.
That was a pretty good pack right there, and I think just the timing of letting off the corner there wasn't some of these guys weren't ready for it. It looks like Benefield just ended up just barely touching Eberhardt in the rear end after he got into the 85. So just a product of hard racing and close knit racing. That draft really sucking you up onto the back bumper of these guys. So it was a tough deal for all those guys.
And leaders coming down pit side for some service, led in by Jeff Ford into the number 6 pit stall. Right side tires completed, left side tires up. He'll drag race it off at a pit lane and retain the race lead. Behind him, O'Rourke maintains second. Lacrosse still third. Fourth is Dwayne Vincent at a change for position for P5. Austin Yarbrough will hopscotch over Mike Kelly. So Kelly going to find himself back in P6 for the next restart. And that's Thomas just... Again, a lot of guys going for not a lot of real estate and all of that, and nobody's really happy about it. Benefield, again, we said, he's the one that got into the back of the car to begin with in front of him. He's not happy, though, based on the fact that that all went down, so the guy that hit the guy in the back end's not happy. I'm sure the car on the receiving end not satisfied at all, and this is what happens, though, when we continue to group things up. You give guys fresh tires, and we talk about the mistakes on the pit lane occasionally. You get fast guys back in a little bit of traffic. They try to get going, and they're used to racing up there with top 5 cars throughout the opening couple of laps. They get their timing a little bit off.
Well, it's a product of, like you said, of packing everything back up after a caution comes down. Some guys are in the back. We're running in the top 5 earlier, but it's also a result of what these cars, I guess I mentioned earlier, it's their engine power. It's the horsepower they have. They're not as fast as the Cup cars, so you have to drive them a little bit differently. If you lose, and the problem is if you lose even just a little bit of time, it could take you 10 to 15 laps just to get it back. It's not like, it's hard. I want to kind of give the viewers an idea of what they're doing if they don't understand what I'm talking about. The Cup car a couple years ago had 850 horsepower. Now it's down to about 800, 750, but you still have to give that car a little bit of throttle control. It's a lot more crazy. It can get loose on you a lot quicker. These cars in the Xfinity, B car, if you want to call them, but in real life they're the Xfinity series. It's not about throttle control. It's about momentum. It's about keeping that position, keeping your foot down on that throttle compared to, controlling what you do. It's almost like, it's hard to honestly explain in detail all of it in there in a short stance, but it's just you have to drive these cars a lot more aggressive than you would the Cup car.
And we see a lot of situations in which these drivers find themselves forced into, which is exactly along that point, Andy, where you got a guy coming up behind you and he's digging. You might not want to get into a 2-wide, a 3-wide battle, which we've seen a couple of them so far tonight. You might not want to be in that fight, but if you back off of it, you're going to get passed by 3 or 4 different drivers in that quick moment alone. And then as Thomas's point had mentioned, it could take you 10, 15, 20 laps to catch those guys back and make up for that time lost. So being smart, although is a long-term better strategy, in many of these scenarios, it's not paying off for these guys.
And no, it's almost like I almost relate it to with the lower horsepower of these guys and having to really keep the momentum up. It's almost like running at a plate track.
So with that, we get set to go back green. Lights back off on top of the pace car. Jeff Ford, E.J. O'Rourke going to make up the front row yet again. The 93, the 21, they've been having fun battling for second on the last couple of these. Dwayne Vincent keeps getting one spot at a time. And Austin Yarbrough back inside of the top 5 guys moving forward. Jeff Ward, though, is yet to be challenged since he took out to the race lead. Of course, these green flag stints he's been leading on have been quite short.
Yeah, they have been, and now we're going to work off turn 4, Evan, and get ready to roll back to the restart. Ward and E.J. O'Rourke on the hammer. Green flag flies. O'Rourke does not get a great restart. Ward, on the other hand, clear by 3 car lengths, and they're going to be 2 deep for second, 2 deep for fourth, back behind him. And we roll on another American Ethanol restart. 3 car length advantage for Ward, and the battle's going to be on with Austin Yarbrough trying to make a move on Matt Lacrosse. They're almost 3 wide, going for second in turn 3.
The 54, not quite a nose there. He'll throw it into turn number 3 with that. Watch the apron. He'll catch the apron. Push it up as Yarbrough. They all swing high to avoid him. They will. And a small bobble by the Jack Daniels Toyota barely makes those guys able to find a room topside. They do. O'Rourke maintains P3 after it looked like that was going to be a lot worse for the gmercer.com Chevrolet. He'll get third. Lacrosse beat him, though, into turns number 1 and 2 to get P2. And O'Rourke now on the defensive because he's got Vincent right behind him and Yarbrough, who's trying to recover to find himself back into the gas. Just behind them, though, Jimmy Norris side by side with Chad Cole, and more funny behind them with the 79, and Joseph LaPlaca. First time we mentioned the DuPont Ford so far tonight. P24 to P10. He's in a good battle with the likes of Nick Silver, the 9 of Anthony Barrow, and the 90 of Eberhardt, all in this mix just around P10.
Yeah, that's a tight scrap. And how about the run by the 9 of DeBarro to come up through the field? He didn't even qualify. Took a provisional, started 31st. Now rolling well up inside the top 10. That was the point I was going to make, Evan, here before this last caution flag when they decided to start tearing some things up once again. But DeBarro, a man on a mission, talked to him under that caution flag. He's excited. He thinks they have a very, very good piece. He's just trying to be patient right now. If you see him drop back a little bit here, it's because he doesn't want to scratch on that car so he can go after it later in this race.
And he's right in the eye of the hurricane, however, because just inside of the top 10, he was in a 3-wide scenario into the fence. In front of them is the 02 car of Mike Kelly. Kelly going to lose a little bit of speed. Everybody immediately ducks to the bottom of the racetrack, all following in suit. Behind Jimmy North, the 51 to 90, the 79 to 9. They're all tightly condensed in this pack with about 5 guys and a couple of tenths. Look at the bar to the bottom of the racetrack, 4 wide to turn number 3. How's that for taking it easy? Down into the corner, he'll get one spot, get in front of the 90, stay behind the 51 and the 02. The big winners in that one were whoever was as low as they could get. The 51 gets the spot from the 02, and the 9 got a spot from that 90 behind him.
Yeah, that was DeBarro that went 4 wide all the way to the white line on the back straightaway. Now he switches it up off turn number 2. Goes to the top side to try to get around the Exalta Chevrolet of Mike Kelly. DeBarro trying to pick off a position. He will, heading into turn number 3. Move the 9 to 9th. Move the 90. How about Daniel Eberhardt, the bad boy buggies machine, up inside the top 10 once again. Your early race leader trying to make some tracks, Evan. He was excited under that last caution. For as bad as it looked, he had no damage on that machine. They've got 4 new rubbers bolted onto that thing. He is a rocket ship right now. He's coming to the front.
And you look up front, actually you look back from the front. The 15 of Jeff Ford, he riding on the back end of the number 15 Chevrolet. Back to Matt Lacrosse. Lacrosse was on that bumper, taking a peek high and low the last time around. Lost a little bit of momentum, though, into turn number 3. Ward's Gap not comfortable, though, just 2 car lengths. And that 93 of E.G. O'Rourke, he's into the party. So the top 3 drivers right now started P6, 12, and 9, respectively, through Ward, Lacrosse, and O'Rourke inside of the top 3. They continue to battle down the back straightaway. Battling behind now, Nick Silver, 2 wide with the 90 of Eberhardt. The 8 of Chad Cole just cannot catch a break. The Firehouse Subs Ford has been, I think, topside in a 2-wide fight since we went back green. It's not helping him go any further forward.
No, it's not, but when you get somebody like Daniel Eberhardt shoving you down into the corner, it may well help him. Eberhardt going for what's going to be the 7th position right here on Nick Silver. Now Eberhardt may have to switch it up. Chad Cole loses a little bit of momentum off the corner, and we roll it. Now Eberhardt moves to the bottom of the racetrack, trying to make some tracks, and he slots in behind Nick Silver. Chad Cole with no speed. The Firehouse Subs Ford going to drop a position. Eberhardt to now 7th, and laying on the back deck lid of the 51 of Nick Silver. He wants a little bit more.
And everybody ganging up on the bottom of the racetrack. That 8 of Chad Cole, Andy, did a good job of pinching him down for a couple of laps, and then finally the floodgates open. He goes right back to the offensive, though. Doesn't let him slow him down. Once that 9, he ducks to the inside on Nick Silver. That 8 is right back down on the bottom of the racetrack. You see the 90. He'll catch the apron, step it up the hill. Cole will roll out of the throttle. It'll allow the outside to win that fight at a turn number 4. Handful of times now we've seen Eberhardt catch that white line.
Yeah, we have, and that makes me a little bit nervous, Andy. I think you and I have been sitting here biting our lip trying to figure this one out. Eberhardt's making some gutsy moves. He knows he's got a fast race car. The problem is he's got to get through all this traffic. Again, he looks to the inside of Nick Silver. I think this time he'll have the easy pass off turn 4.
Yeah, it looks like that. although Silver's able to maintain the momentum on the high side, not quite give Eberhardt the room to slide up in front of him. Eberhardt should have him clear here in turn number 1. He does right now as the Barrow looks on from the backside. But it's all about, we talk about Chad Cole was trying to, he was losing ground and he was kind of making it back up. And he lost some more ground there, and it was all based on momentum. I was watching his laps and his entry into the corner and his exit of the corner, and it was just all about the line that he was currently running. He just had no speed. So now that he's been able to get away from the away from the side-by-side action, you should be able to see that 8 start to pick up some speed here now as DeBarro still on that high side. He's been one of the few that can mix it up, go high on the top side or on the low side like he's doing right now as he looks underneath Nick Silver heading back down to turn number 3.
And all the while, a battle for the race lead now shaping up, Evan, in turns 3 and 4. I just got my eyes back on this. Matt Lacrosse has really started to lay the pressure on the 15 of Jeff Ward. A couple of got veteran drivers in this series and in this league going at it. Lacrosse taking a peek, about a groove higher than Ward. He wants a piece of the lead off turn 2.
And we rode on the bumper of that 15 about 5 laps ago. The gap was about the same, but now finally that 21 musters up enough speed to go to the inside of the racetrack, and a 15 not really going to do much to defend it. So he'll do the crossover, though, at a turn number 4. Not enough, though. The 15 too tight to keep her locked to the bottom. Rolls out of the throttle, and with that, Matt Lacrosse goes to the race lead at lap number 61, and Jeff Ward going to lose 2 spots in one swing of the back to the inside. Now O'Rourke going to tag up also the 93 GBurster.com Chevy, bottom side in turns 1 and 2. Preferred lane going to bump EJ up to P2, and just like that, in about a span of 1.5 miles, you have Jeff Ward from P1 to 3rd.
Yeah, and EJ's been quietly consistent as well. And Thomas, I know that's of no surprise on a track like this. This is one of the tracks that EJ really excels at, whether it's the Cup car or this Xfinity car. He always seems to be good when you get him on a worn-out surface, an intermediate track like Atlanta. I'm not surprised to see him up towards the front there.
Yeah, EJ is really good at these tracks that have a abrasive surface, and last week was the same indication. Obviously, we had a lot of cautions, but EJ was a constant, top 5 car, top 3 car at Iowa, and he ended up making the right strategy calls to actually get him the race win last week. So what I noticed was that throughout that whole run where the 21 of Matt Lacrosse is on the 15 of Jeff Ward there, he was kind of laying back just a little bit. He was giving about 3 to 5 car length breathing room there. Probably just saving his tires a little bit, as it looks like we got a battle for P6 back there. Can't quite see who it is, but it looks like Jimmy North, actually. I'm liking the run he's got going so far. Hope I didn't jinx him just now. But EJ was laying back about 5 car lengths there, so I'm wondering maybe he was letting these leaders here at the time burn their tires off. And right now they're all moving up the high line here, so I think they're trying to search for some grip here.
Oh,
but
the
we'll see
84
what happens.
and the 9, contact in turn 2. Jimmy North was the loser of that, and he went back at him on the bottom. It was looking good, and that car just went straight up the hill real quick into the door, the number 9 machine. Jimmy's going to be able to hang on. He's topside, though, in 3 and 4. Look at the move by Daniel Eberhardt to the inside on the 84, and then slices topside to the 8 machine of Chad Cole. That 90 car digging it. He's counted his blessings so far this race. 2 times he was in an accident. To have that bad boy buggy Chevy still in a competitive state, he's got to be feeling pretty good. He doesn't want to waste it.
Oh, that's absolutely right, Evan. And I've talked with him a couple of times over the radio here during these couple of caution flags. He is rolling and trying to make some tracks now as he goes for the battle for 7th with Chad Cole. Let's take a look through the field at the full field rundown as we're just past halfway. 65 laps complete, 60 to go, and this is our LSRTV midway race break presented by iRacing.com, the world leader in motorsports simulation, and your leader right now, the 21 Matt Lacrosse, the Michigan Wolverines entry, out in front over a fast closing EJ O'Rourke. The 93 rides second, Jeff Ward in third with Dwayne Vincent, the Cup champ, in fourth, Austin Yarborough. A nice rebound. Battle for 5th with Anthony DeBarro, who's going to take it away at the stripe. So drop Yarborough to 6th. Chad Cole rides 7th. 8th, Daniel Eberhardt, the early leader and pole sitter. 9th to Nick Silver. Jimmy North in the Ken Schrader tribute machine rounds out the top 10.
And just behind, a good battle for P11 at 43. Doug Roth's going to get that spot. 12th to LaPlaca, and Mike Rominger sits in the wings into P13, continuing to watch on. Rhett McBride is 14th behind them. 15th to Mike Kelly. Tyler Herr, Kevin Linden, William Amaker, Cisco Scarmuza, and somebody we haven't mentioned a whole lot tonight, David Comstock through top 20.
Yeah, 21st currently right now is the 41 at Corbin Hemstreet. Greg Omo sits 22nd. 23rd is the 44, Paul Fugate. 24th is Jason Swan. Dale Rentz is 25th. 26th is Tom Drierland. Nicholas Horth runs 27th. 2 laps down. In the 22 is Douglas Wyatt in 28th spot. 29th is Mike Montesi, and Stephanie Lessentine sits 30th.
Yeah, the rest of these cars out of this race. Adam Benefiel, 31st. Brian Terry, 32nd. Nelson Rivera, 33rd. Scott Eckridge and William Hale round out the 35-car field as we now work lap number 69 of 125. And trouble off turn 2. Caution flag flies, couple cars around.
And it is Joseph LaPlaca who is sideways in the middle of the track. The 4-car of Rominger's got to roll that car to a stop. And it was LaPlaca who's going to be involved in this accident. Not necessarily of his fault, though. It starts with Mike Rominger, the 4-car, almost looking like the tire just went down. That car would absolutely not rotate in turn number 2, Thomas. It slowly went straight up the hill, and by the time he got to the fence, that 79 LaPlaca was charging in a side-by-side fight and tagged him in the back end, and a huge hit for Kevin Linden.
Yeah, and I had a funny feeling that was going to end up happening here. These cars have been fighting a tight condition off the center of the corner, and on a hot, slick track like this, it was only a matter of time before somebody ended up making the mistake of just pushing it a little too hard off of turn 4. And I made a mention of it earlier. You saw the leaders; they were moving up the track, trying to find a cooler place to run, and it seemed to be working for them. But I don't know if that 4 was already on the bottom or if he was up in the middle there. But it's an unfortunate set of circumstances, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see a few more of the cautions like that before this race is over, where that right front just seems to give out finally.
Once we saw the first caution on the night, we saw 2 quickly to follow. Long green flag stretched to this point, but your leaders are back down to the pit lane. Matt Lacrosse stretching that thing just about as deep as it can go into the box to get his service started on the number 21 Chevrolet. No surprise, it'll be 4 tires, gas, and go for your race leader. He'll try to win the race off at a pit lane. It's going to be a drag race, close but no cigar. The 93 E.J. O'Rourke, who had just fallen off of that top spot, got tight in turn 4 a lap prior to the yellow, but it was actually more defending for that number 2 spot from Jeff Ward than chasing for the race lead. He gets around Matt Lacrosse on pit road. With that, will take over the race lead at lap number 71. These drivers going to get them double file back up to get set to go back green. We go LSRTV non-stop. Well, they do so. E.J. O'Rourke leads in the second half of the Atlanta 125, part of LSRTV's presentation of real sim racing.
Hopefully this ends.
Trucking has always been a part of me. It started years ago when my dad and granddad were hauling vegetables to market in Liverpool. The family immigrated to Canada in the late 60s and settled near Alliston, Ontario. I bought my first truck in 1982 and Mercer Trucking was born. Today, Mercer Trucking has over 50 trucks in terminals in Toronto and Los Angeles, Our storage facilities at both terminals can handle any size of distribution needs throughout North America. We service the continental U.S., including Hawaii and Alaska. We run over 120,000 miles per month and some of the best equipment on the road today. We specialize in less than truckload shipments, show freight, we do rush team service deliveries, and haul your refrigerated or heated product. Our regular team service from Canada to California is second to none, and our staff and drivers are among the best in the business. I'm proud of our people and what they can achieve. Trucking is in my blood, it's my livelihood, and it's what I do best.
We're back live at the virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway. Lights are off topside on the American Childhood Cancer Organization pace car, which means we're getting set for a restart. The last time we saw a yellow after a green flag stretch, it came in a wave of 3. We look forward to go green flag through for at least a couple more laps at lap number 73 of 125. 52 laps left on the board in Hotlanta. Pace car down and away. O'Rourke going to be in control to the go zone and green flag in the air. Atlanta 125 back at it through lap 74 across the start finish zone. Good jump topside for the U of M entry. Matt Lacrosse drops down P2 in front of Chad Cole in third. Jeff Ward P4 behind him. Dwayne Vincent trying to hang on to P5. Not going to be able to do it though. Here comes Anthony DeBarro with the 9 car P5.
Yeah, I'm not surprised at that. Now the fan out starts to go, and the first one to the inside, the 54, Austin Yarbrough. He wants a piece of Dwayne Vincent. Vincent going to be able to slot down and make something happen, and now the battle's on for second ahead of him. Chad Cole, the Firehouse Subs entry to the inside. Matt Lacrosse in the U of M machine to the outside. Chad Cole, caution flag out.
And that's Daniel E. Eberhardt. He got away with it once. He got away with it 2 times. And on the 3rd time on the night, he gets involved in a major accident. It is one too many. He was topside. This one not of his fault. Just on the bottom of the racetrack, Nick Silver stepped it up the hill a little bit. May have actually been the result of maybe a little bit of net-coated contact. But the 51 went up the hill very quickly. Eberhardt was there. He got cross-checked to the wall. And Jimmy North, such a good run tonight, guys, for that 84 to Jimmy North. He gets a good piece of that one, and obviously that 90 Eberhardt involved in this one. He was getting pretty lucky tonight. It's only somewhat fitting that his luck runs out, but it's a tough break because that bad boy buggy Chevy was relentless all night long. This would have maybe a little bit too much, though, for him to come back from that engine smoking pretty heavily.
Yeah, he's smoking. The 41 got hit about 3 or 4 times in that melee off of turn number 4. Bunch of guys involved with that. Like you said, that Jimmy North involved. He was having a great run here tonight, but there was a bunch of carnage right there in turns 3 and 4. It all started a little tight condition maybe with the 51. Went up the track just a little bit. It didn't take much. Put the 90 in the fence, and it was game on from there.
And with that, as we said, the first time we got a caution after a green flag stretch, they come in waves. At this point, we bridge ourselves into the final 50 laps. We passed the halfway point. We no longer count up, we count down. Some drivers, Thomas, though, not happy with the patience that everybody's been showing so far tonight. I don't think we've seen a green flag stretch, though, where we've gone more than 3 laps without a side-by-side battle on track somewhere. And so far tonight, we've seen quite a few top 10, top 5, but even the guys back in the pack are digging there. That's off of a restart, so that's still a little bit of a different story because everybody is still so tightly bunched together, especially considering you're not lifting when you're getting that car up to speed, so it's very hard to separate yourself from each other. But we always talk about, it's almost like beating the dead horse, but it's true that because momentum is such a big thing, you have to be that little bit more aggressive that I'm sure you're comfortable with, because otherwise you're going backwards. We've seen a couple of guys back out of it. Chad Cole, one notable one a couple of laps ago. He was pushing those guys onto the bottom of the racetrack when he was up top very hard. Eventually backed off the gas. It cost him 3 spots in 2 turns.
Yeah, and you pretty much hit the nail on the head. You just, with these lower horsepower Xfinity cars and the same thing, even the lower horsepowered truck series that I raced in on Wednesday night, the same I can pretty much attest to it. The same thing happened to me last Wednesday at Auto Club, and I got loose twice just by hitting that white line, and I could never make up the track position. I was running about top 5, top 10, and every time I lost just a little bit of track position, I couldn't get it back. That's just how these lower horsepower sport race cars are compared to the Cup car. It's momentum, and it's about track position a lot more here than it is up in the Cup Series, because you have to be more aggressive. Basically, the best way I can describe it now that I think about it is, with these cars, you're throwing it into the corner. You're not lifting, like you said. You're not lifting at all. And whereas the Cup car, you're lifting a little bit to save the tires because you know how much horsepower those cars have. So it suits certain cars. You see it in the real world series. That's why you don't see guys like Jimmy Johnson or Casey Kane, who are, well, I don't want to say Casey Kane. He's not doing good anyway. Sorry, Casey. But like, I can remember Jimmy Johnson back a couple years ago. He was having a great year in the Cup Series. He goes down to the then Nationwide Series, as it was called, and he finished like 12th or 13th. You're thinking, well, Jimmy Johnson in a Junior Motorsports or Hendrick Motorsports car, you think he's going to go to the front. It's like, no, it's certain drivers can adapt to it, and that's what you're seeing here. Some guys can drive in every series, like a Kyle Busch, who doesn't matter what you put him in, he's really good. Or an Eric Jones, same difference. Whereas Jimmy Johnson can't necessarily race in the Busch Series, or that's what I still call it anyway, but he can run well in the Cup Series. So it's just a matter of being more aggressive, and certain driver styles are applying differently here.
In a Cup car, you use the gas to launch that car off of the corner to get it going. In these cars, you don't use the gas, and you just got to stay on it to not lose speed. The gas is not there to gain speed, it's there to not lose speed. You got to keep these things rolling. This restart going to be coming at lap number 80, so just at about 46 laps to go in this one. A wave of caution flags could be upon us based on the strategy that we're going to see here in just a moment. It is late in this race, so we're going to find out what happens. And at this point, we talk a lot about big movers, guys going forwards, guys going backwards. So far, your biggest mover so far tonight, P5, at 31 of Anthony DeBarro, came from 31st position. That's a plus-minus of about 26 so far. You're probably not going to see many people continue to climb a big amount or even fall a big amount unless they have some big issues. The track position strategy that you have played so far has gotten you to this point. We're counting down from 46. It's time to rock and roll and work with what you got. The pace car going to get down and away. It is E.J. O'Rourke's field to lead. Green flag in here, lap number 80.
Good jump by E.J. O'Rourke and also Matt Lacrosse. That second spot, able to get down on that bottom line. Look at Chad Cole now in that third spot, really trying to make a move and get himself back up here contending for the lead, as E.J. O'Rourke now drops way to the bottom. Not sure if he's just trying to break the draft right there, but what a mess of cars we have in the top 10.
He kept turning off at turn number 2, held on, went back topside to arc into 3. He'll lead at a turn number 4, and if those guys are behind you, they've got that weight, they've got that draft. It's going to be very hard to shake them unless you're a lot faster than them. The best thing that can happen for EJ now is for Chad Cole to get up on the wheel. He wants the 8 and the 21 to battle, so he can pull away a little bit. If they stay single file like this, that 93 continues to have to pedal that car up front. Not going to do himself any favors tire-wise, going looking to a long run, and it's hard to be comfortable with Matt Lacrosse on the bumper. He'll gain a little bit of time, that time in 3 and 4, but that 21 machine has been a thorn in his side. The constant pressure remains coming from second.
Yeah, now the battle for this lead goes into 1 and 2 once again, crawls into the 24 degrees of banking, and Matt Lacrosse really took a hard cut to the bottom of the racetrack, trying to make up some time, closed it down under a car length, but EJ so good off the corner as we're going to work a little bit of lap traffic with number 22, Bass Pro Shops Tracker Boats entry. Douglas Wyatt, I believe that is, going to go down another lap here. He is a wounded machine, going to fall now 3 laps down as the leaders try to work around him to the outside of the racetrack, and that may open the door for Austin Yarbrough to go 3 wide. Battle is on for third off turn 2.
And he did not lift at all for that. Kemper on the white line to the inside of the 22. All of that as Chad Cole was checking up, and what that means is Chad Cole to fourth and Yarbrough to third. Not done yet though. Cole going to fight back into turn number 4. He'll take a peek to the outside of the racetrack. It's not going to be enough though. Down the front straightaway, 54 can't quite slide up because there's a nose top side. But with that move, Yarbrough gets himself back into the number 2 spot.
Battle for the lead off turn number 2 as Matt Lacrosse again putting the pressure on E.J. O'Rourke. He cut to the bottom, then crossed over to the top side. Now he's back to the white line once again in turn number 3. E.J. so good in 3 and 4, but Lacrosse with a huge run off turn 4, and I think E.J. may have gotten a piece of the wall. They're door to door for the race lead. Lacrosse to the bottom. Lacrosse takes the lead in turn 1.
93 just got back to the gas way too soon there, down in turns number 3 and 4. Had to lay out of the gas. He kept it out of the fence, no damage. That car is still up at full song, but with that, lost a lot of speed down the front straightaway. Matt Lacrosse goes to the race lead. This time by, he'll have the official lead at the scoring pylon, and a 54 of Austin Yarbrough will slot into the number 2 position just like that. That aggressive move by the 54 on the lap traffic machine puts himself in a spot to take advantage of the E.J. O'Rourke problem in turn 4. The next thing you know for Yarbrough, you're no longer back on row number 3 on the restart. You're in P2 battling for the race lead. It's Matt Lacrosse though in front as he tries to hold on. 40 laps to go.
Yeah, don't look now though, but the Jack Daniels entry of Austin Yarbrough really starting to make some tracks and close in on that 21 of Matt Lacrosse, but he's got E.J. O'Rourke all over his back bumper. That's the battle for P2 once again. It's about 2 car lengths behind your race leader. O'Rourke's not done. He takes a peek to the high side, loses some momentum, and now Yarbrough to the bottom wants a piece of the lead off turn 2.
Kind of stuck right now, about 3 car lengths off of the back of Matt Lacrosse, who leads the way down into turn number 3. Through all of what's happened in the last couple of laps, we sit with 21 drivers still on the lead lap of the 35 that started this race from the grid. Your top 4 drivers are within 1 second of each other from your race leader. Chad Cole hanging out P4. He's well back. The real fight is more so for P2 than it is for the race lead, at least at this juncture. O'Rourke was leading, got a little bit tight in turn number 4, checked it up, lost some speed. He's trying to get that car wound back up. Got in a spot to challenge for P2 in turn 1. Didn't quite get the run that he wanted though to the middle of turn number 2. Lost a little bit of time, and as Austin Yarbrough wants to be chasing down Matt Lacrosse, his Miraful going to be a lot closer with that 93 machine closing in on him.
Yeah, we're watching 54 over the last few weeks of the series, and even in the trucks, as he's running the trucks, rookie here to RSR. Austin Yarbrough, a very fast driver. He's got a lot of talent, but you can see as this run will go on, I think you're going to see that 54 really start to fall backwards. I think he really just, I think he needs to learn a little bit more about the conserving tires in the beginning of the run, because he knows he's got a fast car. He's very, very fast as a driver, but you can see right now as E.J. O'Rourke now closes back up on his rear bumper right now. I think in the next 10 or so laps, you're going to see him fall maybe back to that 5th spot.
Into the bottom, there goes the 93 of E.J. O'Rourke at a turn number 2, side by side for P2. This is music to Matt Lacrosse's ears, because he'll be able to pull just a little bit that time down the back. The good news for O'Rourke is he made quick work of Yarbrough, and that 54 to the bumper, he'll push him all the way from turn 4 to turn number 1. He's letting O'Rourke know that he's not about to roll over and let this one go. But through all of that, E.J. O'Rourke, faster race car. It's hard to fight against that. 93 pulls at a 2.
And down the back straightaway they go once again. First side-by-side battle going on around the Nick Silver 51, Dwayne Vincent 13 area, and Rhett McBride in the 2. Getting in this mix now, trying to make some tracks. He's come up nicely from 17th up inside the top 10 now after being almost 30th early in the first half of this race, Evan. How about McBride making the charge late? He's survived some of these wrecks, and now that 2 for Steel Horse Racing in prime position to get a great finish. Duking it out now with Nick Silver for the 8th position off 2.
His battle 2.2 seconds off of the race lead, and it is that 2 on the inside. That 51 of Nick Silver has been a P8 car all night long. Remember, he almost won this race in the RSR Full Throttle Cup Series. He went to P8 though very quickly. Started back in 28th on the grid. past 20 drivers to get inside of the top 10 spot, and at the moment has kind of found himself towards the tail end of the top 10, at least for the moment, and throughout the majority of the second half of this race. I'd argue that 2 on the inside, it's a better lane to go into the corner with, not the better place to be coming off the corner, because the outside again can utilize that 24 degrees banking. But if you got a faster car, you can get the job done. McBride, though, may have overshot it. We'll go 3 wide. Look at Doug Roth into the grass for the 43 Chevy. He'll get sideways, lose some speed. McBride able to bring it back, and now a fight for P8. That's twice now. Somebody's made a dive bomb move to the inside. First Yarbrough, and now Doug Roth digging out of 4.
Yeah, great battle right now with the 43. Still looking to the inside. Roth trying to get around Brett McBride. Looks like he's got the advantage right now through 3 and 4, but that top side's going to have some momentum here as he battles back on the outside. Here comes Rhett McBride. Now he's going to have a little bit of drafting help. Nick Silver unsure where he's going to go right now, almost riding in between these guys. Is now the 0-2 of Mike Kelly is rebounding nicely, and he's gotten himself back up in the conversation of a top 10 finish right now. Doug Roth, though, continuing the battle for that spot with Rhett McBride. They're back into 3.
They're on each other's door. 93, we should have E.J. O'Rourke up in front, letting the lap traffic know where he wants them to be. That's going to be a factor that your leaders are going to have to deal with as this progresses. But that 2 car of McBride still in the spot that he just can't get away from the battle. Roth on the inside probably would have gotten clear, but again, he got loose in the grass and kind of got trapped down on the inside of the racetrack. Thomas, what are you thinking about this 2 machine right now? Because McBride, top side, you go on board with Nick Silver, who's got a front row seat of this. McBride is in the harder lane to defend him, but he's holding his own. He just can't find a consistency maybe to keep it hooked up.
Well, the thing that is hurting that Steel Horse 2 or Red McBride is the fact that coming off of turn 3 and 4, it's so much tighter than it is off of 1 and 2, and you're starting to see a lot of these drivers, like I mentioned earlier, they're moving up. They're trying to get that little bit of shade that's there, try to cool off the tires. It looks like that the 43 finally is able to clear Rhett there, and I think Rhett's going to fall in the line here, but it's just, you can defend on the outside for a good amount of laps here, but eventually, if you mess up even just a little bit, you're going to eventually have to give up that spot. Oh, man. Oh, 4 wide. Oh, they're wrecking in the tri-oval.
Nick Silver going to go around. He'll come back up on track in front of traffic, and he'll get tagged. Caution flag is out. They were just going 3 wide in front of him for the number 3 spot. It'll remain Yarbrough, DeBarro, and Ward. And just as it looked like those guys had settled things down, Roth overshot turn 4, McBride overshot turn 4. They all ran out of room, and unfortunately for Nick Silver, he's the odd man out that got spun around in the middle of the track, kept his eyes closed, and Paul Fugate, running top 15, is the one that comes by and tags him in the left front of that race car, and that's going to give the damage to Paul Fugate, so the caution will fly just shy of lap number 100, and they were just starting to figure out those 2-3 battles that we were watching. Now we'll throw fresh tires into the mix most likely. Jacob will throw them back out there with less than 25 laps, and we'll let them group back up at least one more time.
I have a feeling we have not seen the last caution flag. I'll be very frank about that right now. Evan, this may be the caution flag, in fact, that sets up a wild, wacky, and carnage-filled finish, because
interesting,
I don't know exactly what's going to happen, to say the very least, but Matt Lacrosse is going to lead the leaders down pit road, and Andy Kessler, I have a feeling there's no question what we're going to see from everybody here. 4 tires, gas it up, and it's time to go.
Yeah, four tires, fuel for all these leaders as they come down pit road. And with 25 to go, we're going to have to keep an eye on that 54. We know he's fast in the first part of the run here. It looks like Chad Cole in the number 8 slid through his box a little bit. He's going to lose some time on pit road. But for all our leaders right now, 4 tires, that's definitely the call you're going to want to make here tonight. And a pretty good battle on the race off pit road. E.J. O'Rourke trying to get that spot, but Matt Lacrosse going to lead them all out.
And nobody really shakes the dice on that one. It's 4 tires for everybody. Matt Lacrosse in front of E.J. O'Rourke. O'Rourke went to the race lead earlier in this race by making a pass onto the pit lane. He's not able to do that again this time. He'll exit in second. Matt Lacrosse will be your first driver, though, on 4 tires when we get set to go back at it. And when we do so, we'll be within inside of the final 25 laps in the Atlanta 125. We'll take this final opportunity to step away and go LSRTV nonstop on iRacing Live. We'll be back for the race to the checkered flag. Matt Lacrosse leads at Atlanta.
Truex in the outside, contact made. 56 slides it into 4. Who's going to be at the stripe? Dead even, give it to Ryan Truex. Truex is your winner over Tandy.
We're back live at the virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway. The lights are off around the racetrack. That means we're going to go back at it, Andy. I don't think, though, it's going to be for the last time.
No, the way things are going, I really don't think that. I think we got a lot of guys here itching to get some good finishes, some guys that we haven't seen really up in the top 10 or at least get a top 10 finish here as everybody's getting really bunched up here right now. So it's going to be a good restart here.
It'll be at least one, maybe more. Short shootouts to the end. The pace car down. Green flag back in the air. It's Matt Lacrosse at the start finish on it. Good jump topside for E.J. O'Rourke. He'll be P2 down to turns 1 and 2. Yarbrough in third. Chad Cole to fourth.
Yeah, and how about the 54 of Austin Yarbrough did not get a good restart, Evan, and now the battle for the lead as E.J. O'Rourke cuts to the bottom of the racetrack, wants a piece of Matt Lacrosse. He knows it's go time. Yarbrough to the outside of the racetrack. E.J.'s trying to throw the block, and now caution flag flies in 3.
Oh, spinning in turn number 3, up and over. William Hale goes for a ride. The 26 lands at all 4. The caution flag is out. Problems for the driver scored in 34th position at the time of the yellow. The caution flag is out, and that was a very strange incident down the back straightaway. Not sure if there was a history amongst these drivers or what, but the 26 driving in a straight line down the back. Brian Terry closing in, and the 29 is running in 46 laps down. William Hale is 67 laps down. Thomas, I'm not sure what to make of that. The 26 just turned right when the 92 went to pass him.
I don't know what to say, Andy. I guess that's probably what it is. It's almost like it looked like a Carl Edwards, Brad Keselowski deal. Just a little payback, but who knows?
Yeah, that was
the discussion
that
over
was
the
pretty
radio
wild.
is there's some history there, I believe, and
Yeah.
the argument that the number 26 is making is that William Hale says if I did it on purpose and I wanted to wreck myself, we've seen Danica try it a couple of times. I don't know. It was interesting again down the backstretch, Jacob. There was nobody else there, but with both of those guys kind of swerving at each other a little bit, they both got torn up race cars. I feel like those race cars might have been torn up from each other a little bit earlier in that one. That looked like it had some history behind it.
Well, absolutely they were. That's what, if you remember the caution earlier on in this race, I couldn't tell you exactly what number it was because we've had several since, Evan, but, one of the cautions earlier, the one that William got wadded up in that sent him to the pit lane, he was involved in with the 92 of Brian Terry, and that was more than a little bit of payback. He said if he was going to get back on track, and the 92 did, that there was going to be something go wrong, and like we said, he tried it and ended up on the losing end of that one. As you mentioned, one Danica Patrick tried that a couple of times earlier this year, and it just didn't work, and it didn't work there. Retribution's really a two-edged sword, my friend. If you do it right, well, then you get your payback. If you don't do it right, you get whatever that just was.
Kind of embarrassing.
And retribution, not normally a common thing to go for, Thomas, at Atlanta when you're doing 190 miles an hour either.
I was just going to say, I wonder if William Hale's favorite driver is Carl Edwards.
You know that history for sure. And at this very racetrack as well, the driver I feel bad for in that, Jason Swan, had nothing to do with it. And that ADT Security Chevrolet, clean car, P20, on the lead lap, gets into the back of the 92 of Brian Terry. From our end, and if you saw it on the replay, it won't look, like his vision was impaired much at all. But from your behind the wheel, the newest build is giving these guys a lot of smoke. There's a lot of smoke when somebody gets sideways and something happens. I can probably guarantee you that Jason Swan could not see anything in front of him when he came up to the scene of that accident.
You're almost, this smoke is definitely something that's contributed. We've seen it a lot, Evan, in broadcasts over the past week, especially at like plate tracks when you get a guy that maybe just get out of shape, not even wrecking or spinning yet, and they just get out of shape and the tires start to slide, you get a lot of smoke, and then as you're a driver coming up behind these guys, you're not sure. I mean, is this guy spun around? Is he on his way back down the track? Is he still going? You just have no idea where to go, and you almost have to just kind of hold your line and just hold your breath, and hopefully that when you come out of the other side of the smoke, you didn't hit anything.
And just like that, they clean it up very quickly. We get set to go back at it. Story down pit side in all of that from William Hale is that it was a right front problem on that car down the back straightaway that causes that accident. So that would lead me to another accident, Thomas. Not quite an Atlanta deal, more of a Martinsville deal in that one, if you know what we're talking to. But with that, we're going to get set to go back at it. Kind of a tough deal for your leaders there because O'Rourke did a good job of maintaining second, but Yarbrough and Chad Call were both looking to make moves when that happened. They kind of have to hit the reset button and they lose a little bit of lapse of time to do work with.
Yep. I mean, I couldn't hear some of the things. Everything was kind of getting interrupted there, but from what I could tell, you were trying to say something about these drivers getting aggressive at the end here. So I'm going to go with, they're going to get aggressive, and the lights are off on the pace cars. We get ready to go back to green.
I feel everybody is going to be in agreement that these guys are going to get at it. How hard do they go, and how much time are they allowed to do it in? We'll see another restart. This time, 18 laps to go. The U of M Chevy is on it. Green flag in the air. A spectacular jump, though. Topside O'Rourke's right with him.
Yeah, down to turn number 1. Matt Lacrosse, EJ O'Rourke, wheel to wheel. O'Rourke's got to slide in. He does and makes it happen side by side for now 4th. Rhett McBride, the man on the move, trying to go underneath Chad Cole. They're almost 3 wide as they work off the corner. Jeff Ward had half a mind to stick it up the middle. Thinks better of it. Now wheel to wheel for the 4th spot again. McBride on the move. Cole topside. McBride's got the advantage.
Battle for the race lead, and in turn number 4, they fight for 4th behind. We saw EJ O'Rourke look to the inside on Matt Lacrosse on the most recent restart prior to this one. didn't make the move. The 21 elected out the block because you need to Artley the 54. Yarbrough to the inside, side by side for a second. He'll get the spot. O'Rourke back to third.
He gave him a shot there in the corner. Yarbrough says it's go time. We're down to 16 laps to go when they come to the line. Yarbrough in the Jack Daniels machine to second. He's hunting down the race leader. He wanted a short run. He's got it. He believes he can win this race, and he's right on the deck lid across for the lead as they cross the stripe. 16 laps to go.
McBride now into the picture, the driver of the 2 car, slides into P4, but Yarbrough for the race lead. He's on the inside of the racetrack. Matt Lacrosse tries to use the power off of 2 to hold on, and he will. He'll maintain at least down the back, down the 54 to the inside, side by side. 21 takes a swipe and shuts the door. That battle continues all the way through 3 and 4. Lacrosse tags the fence. He keeps going.
He keeps going. I think Yarbrough got a little bit loose, not knowing where Lacrosse was going to come down, and that cost him a little bit of time. If he'd kept his foot in it, he might have been able to get out in front of Lacrosse and take the lead. Now, though, he's right wheel to wheel for the top spot. Off turn 2, Yarbrough to the inside, Lacrosse to the outside. He wants a piece of the lead. They're door-to-door in 3.
On the white line for the 54 of Austin Yarbrough, Matt Lacrosse, he elects to not back off and go for the crossover. He'll challenge back topside. Caution flag will fly as they race side by side across the start-finish line. It's the 14 of David Comstock in turn number 4. And with that, it appears that it will be Austin Yarbrough scored as your race leader. 54, maybe courtesy of the caution, because that was not yet determined. Lacrosse was not about to give that one up easily. Is going to be a race leader for what could be the final restart inside of the final 10 laps. But for David Comstock, a very uneventful night for the Monster Energy Chevrolet. Was running in at the time P12, which was one of his better running spots on the night, and it looks like maybe a little bit of contact with the 6 car of Tom Dryerling. His 14 car of Comstock goes around. The 91 of Greg Omo is involved. That's where that yellow flag stems from. Just a sour end to a sour night, I'd say, for David Comstock.
That's to say the least. We haven't seen him be competitive all night long. Just pretty much a mid-pack car all night long, Evan. And he's just, for whatever reason, just not able to figure out the handling of this car at this track tonight. And he struggled all night. And it's obviously, unfortunately, it comes to an end with a wreck. But for Comstock, just a very uncharacteristic type of race for himself.
And I'm not sure how much of a difference it's going to make to the overall picture, but Jeff Ward, the first driver down to the pit lane from P9, Austin Yarbrough, and everybody else inside of the top 8, they will stay out and continue to work on the tires, in which they're working with at the moment. Yarbrough, Lacrosse, O'Rourke, McBride, and Chad Cole. Round 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And Thomas, there was 2 different strategies implemented. One by Yarbrough, one by O'Rourke. One worked and one didn't. We saw Lacrosse in front. EJ tried to go for the race lead down the back, the restart prior to this most recent. He had the nose on the bottom, didn't quite have a nose on the inside, but he rode that 1 lane lower all the way down the back. So by the time we got to turn 3, Matt Lacrosse knew exactly what he was doing. Austin Yarbrough did the exact opposite. He stayed on the bumper until the last second, then he jumped out of line. I think it worked very well to actually catch EJ off guard for Yarbrough to take that P2 spot away, and it's the same strategy that he did on Matt Lacrosse to take the race lead, because if you ride the bottom the whole time, that guy can kind of prep to where you're going to be. He can drive it in a little bit harder, try to get down in front of you, but if you jump out at the last second, if they try to make any sort of reactionary move, they're going to be swiping down to the bottom and killing their own speed. So I like that, approach by that 54 machine to wait till the last second and try to catch him off guard, do it really quickly.
Yeah, it's just a game of chess, essentially. You're plotting, what move you're going to make here at 200 miles an hour, it seems like. And it's hard to say for certain. I think the 54 was more trying to use the draft, whereas I think EJ was trying to get the position because he felt like there was probably going to be a couple of cautions here, and knowing the way that the race is starting to go, I don't know if they were done with the cautions quite yet either. I think he was trying to get the track position, knowing that if there was a delay race caution, he restarted second, he's probably going to be out of luck. But it might have benefited it might benefit him here that he fell back to third because he'll be on the inside on this next restart. The question is he as good on the short run as the 54 there, and maybe has he saved a little bit of something on that short run where the 54 was trying to get around the 21 here. It's just it's a different set of racing techniques that these guys like to implement. You know, in road racing you kind of duck down when you're right on the guy's back bumper, and it's kind of the same here. You duck down underneath them to try and force them to decide, you know, am I going to chop their nose and risk getting spun out going into the corner, or am I going to give them the position or give them the lane, and we can both race side by side back to the flag.
We'll make the math very easy. It's going to be 10 laps to go at the start-finish line. Not quite the 7 that I was looking at inside of the final 25 laps, but this kind of skews those caution flag numbers. We talked about this race averaging 9 yellows in the last 2 years. That's one race with 7 cautions and the other was with 11. This race has been pretty good all the way through, really, with just about 4 or 5 cautions really working under green flag conditions. It's all these yellows at the end that kind of pad that number, which is what you expect to see, though, in a race like this. It's a track that allows these guys to get physical. It's a track that allows them to go a little bit over that line and try to bring it back. We'll see how this shapes out. 10 laps to go in Hotlanta. The pace car going to get down, get out of the way, and do it quickly. It's Austin Yarbrough to the American Ethanol restart zone. Green flag in the air. He set sail, leaving a battle for second behind Tim Lacrosse at the bottom to shut the door from E.J. O'Rourke.
That was the restart that Yarbrough needed right here. He is away by 3 car lengths over Lacrosse, and that scramble for second's not going to get any less hot and heavy. O'Rourke to the bottom. Chad Cole even lower. Cole wants the battle for third off turn number 2 and down the back straightaway. He's going to be there in turn 3. Lacrosse going to get away. O'Rourke slices down to protect third and now goes after Lacrosse for P2.
The 54 car works with the gap. The 21 is pushed. EJ sticks it out to the outside. The bump draft from behind. Chad Cole in fourth. Going to push the 93 all the way to turn 1, then go to his inside. So side by side for third. All of this behind now clear for second place. Matt Lacrosse, he needs to chase down Austin Yarbrough, running out of time to do so to turn 3.
Yeah, to turn 3 and into the 24 degrees of bank, and again, still wheel-to-wheel for third. Chad Cole to the bottom, about a half car length behind the 93 of E.J. O'Rourke. Now Cole gets a little bit of advantage on the bottom side as they work to the start-finish line. May have the advantage, not quite. E.J. noses out in front. Now Cole going to sink it all the way to the bottom. Meanwhile, Yarbrough running away. He's quicker than everybody. It's almost half a second now, coming to 7 laps to go next time by.
2 more laps into the books. A caution flag would end this. Still a possibility of a restart if they junk him. It's a fight for third on back. E.J. O'Rourke topside puts the pinch to the 8 of Chad Cole. Small bobble on the inside for the Firehouse Subs Ford Mustang. Keeps it under control in that battle. Far from over, although E.J. wants to slice down in front. He won't be able to do it. It is clean air in front of the 54 of Austin Yarbrough, but clean track between him and Matt Lacrosse. Lacrosse tries to dig in and catch him. It's the 54 and the 21 in front of all the chaos as O'Rourke gets cleared finally for third. Oh, the 9 car! Anthony DeBarro sideways in turns 3 and 4. Contact with the 2 of Rhett McBride. Somehow they hang on. It'll be a big hornet's nest behind them, though, as faster cars approach.
Yeah, and Yarbrough, check that. Yarbrough running away while all this is going on. That now cost them almost a full second, and somehow nobody lost any positions in all that, Evan. McBride remains 6th, DeBarro remains 7th. They're 2 seconds behind the lead, and Matt Lacrosse trying to close in. He's got one last hurrah, perhaps. 5 laps to go this time, and the Wolverine trying to make a final dash towards the front. 5 laps to go here in Hotlanta.
The battle behind him with that check of the 9 to DeBarro. He hangs on. He'll be P8 at 6 for McBride. Cisco Scaramouche to the bump and run on behalf of the 9 to the inside. That was the 85 and the 55 who went topside to get a run on him after they checked up. All of that, though, is 2.5 seconds behind your race leaders. This time by 4 laps to go at Atlanta. We have seen several times a finish of this caliber show up at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. It'll be a battle for the checkered flag. They got 1 car length in turn 1.
And I'm telling you, all the pressure that Lacrosse is putting on Yarbrough is allowing E.J. O'Rourke and Dwayne Vincent to make a run. Lacrosse makes a move to the top side. O'Rourke, check that, Yarbrough down to the bottom, and now the battle's on in turn 3. Yarbrough throws the block. Lacrosse is there. Lacrosse gives him a bump. The challenge is a car length off turn 4. 3 laps to go this time, and O'Rourke and Vincent are closing.
It's going to bring it from a 2-car fight to a 4-car fight. Vincent to the inside of O'Rourke, side by side for third behind him, but Yarbrough allowed that 21 to get to him, shut the door on him, though. That 21 tried to send him into turn number 3. 54 drove it in a little bit hard, so because they're playing cat and mouse with each other, they might give it up to the 93 of the 13 this next time by. Just 2 laps to go at Atlanta. The gap less than a car length for P1 and P2.
Yeah, the problem is, as long as Dwayne and EJ are side by side, they are not going to get there. Lacrosse, top side, trying to get that arc into turn number 1. Now he sails it to the bottom, goes up a groove in turns 1 and 2, trying to roll the momentum. Lacrosse is there on the outside as they work off turn number 2. Dwayne Vincent in the fence, EJ O'Rourke to third. Vincent really slowing up. The battle's on for the lead in turn 3.
The 54 protected the bottom. What that did is it opened up the 21 top side. Lacrosse, though, up against the fence. He almost runs at a racetrack. Yarbrough clear. 1.5 miles to go in Atlanta.
How about this? Back to turns 1 and 2 for the final time. Lacrosse is there. Yarbrough trying to make the move to fend the bottom, but Lacrosse wide open in turns 1 and 2. They touch off turn number 2. Lacrosse is there. He sends him into the wall. Yarbrough over Lacrosse to the lead, and Yarbrough spinning wildly up over the catch fence. Lacrosse is going to cross the line first. I'm not convinced, Evan, that that's going to hold up for him to win the race. Have you ever?
No, that 54 came up. I've never.
Those guys were going at it. Nobody was giving it an inch, and it looked like Yarbrough had given it away because he wanted to protect the inside, and by doing that, he sacrificed the outside of the racetrack. It opened it up for Matt Lacrosse. Lacrosse was there, but Yarbrough pushes up a little bit in turn 2. Small contact with Matt Lacrosse. Lacrosse catches the fence. He comes down off the fence, and that's where he gets into that 54 of Austin Yarbrough, who is officially going to finish this race 1 lap down after he slid back up on track on his lid and got knocked out of the park by the 69 of William Amaker. That car up and over the catch fencing and gone. Yarbrough will not complete lap 125. He was that close from walking away with a checkered flag. Matt Lacrosse, winner at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. As of now, the finish most likely going to be subject to review. But that, I think, Thomas, just 2 guys going at it. You can't ask for much more because they both refuse to give up.
Oh, that was a great finish. I feel bad for the 54 not getting a finish, but it's on the line. That 21, Matt, he knew he was faster, and he had the outside. It wasn't like he shoved the 54 up out of the way, and that 54 threw the block on him a couple laps prior, so the intentions were made. The rule is, it's basically like Joey Logano, you threw the block. I'm like, okay, you raced me once. I'm like that. I'm gonna move you out of the way the next time. And Matt didn't do anything wrong there. He held the line. He pinched him down, but gave him plenty of room. And the only thing that Matt's maybe guilty of is he just got in the wall. But the 54 shoved him up there a little bit, and that's just hard racing. And I don't blame Matt one bit at all for doing what he did, especially considering the circumstances. So that was a great race. I wish it could have gone back to the checkered flag and seen one of those classic Atlanta finishes.
You can break that one down all you want, Andy, but at the end of the day, if you're behind the wheel of that 21, if you're behind the wheel of that 54, you're not looking at, well, I better not go into this corner and push up a foot, because when you're on each other's door, you're getting back to the gas and seeing if it works. There was contact from both parties, and as fortunate as it is for Austin Yarbrough, who is having a spectacular run looking for RSR victory lane, the way that all went down, it was 50-50 if it's Lacrosse that goes around or if it's Yarbrough that goes around. Unfortunately, the card's not in favor of the 54, and Matt Lacrosse is the one that gets the checkered flag.
Yeah, that was just some hard racing. I think the 54 thought he just turned down on him. He did make some contact. Matt Lacrosse did with the wall, which got him a little, out of control, and he did come down and touch him, but no way was that intentional. Watched a couple of replays on that one, and we just saw a blimp replay of that, and that's just some hard racing. Obviously, you wish these guys could have went side by side all the way to the end, but that was a fantastic race. And you know what, Austin Yarborough's had a season like that all season. Been running up front week after week, different tracks, but just can't put the finish together. And he's got to hold his head up high. Got to just take these in and take this as experience and learn from it. And there's nothing he did right there that was wrong. It's just a product of circumstance. If he was the guy on the outside, then Matt Lacrosse would be the one kissing the inside wall. So it's hard racing. It's frustrating when you go 125 laps and it comes down to that, and you're not even able to get across the start finish line.
If they weren't going to race each other like that for the race lead at the end, then they wouldn't have been running P1 and 2 at the end of that one. They had to race hard all night long. They went for it, and the official word down from the RSR Tower is that finish is official. Matt Lacrosse, your winner at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. So let's hear what the drivers from behind the wheel have to say about all of that as Lacrosse finally brings that 21 down towards victory lane. We'll step away one final time. We'll round up some of your top 3 finishers and talk to them in just a moment. It was another classic Atlanta finish, but on top at the end of the night is Matt Lacrosse. He's the winner in the RSR Icebreaker Winter Series, the LSRTV post-race show on iRacing Live. Back in a moment, presented by Hippie's Paint Shop.
Truex in the outside, contact made. 56 slides it at a 4. Who's going to be into stripe? Dead even, give it to Ryan Truex. Truex is your winner over Tandy.
Monza is a very historic track. It's been around since the 20s, and it's gone through several permutations since then.
We're back live at the virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway as the dust just now begins to settle on an absolutely spectacular finish in the Atlanta 125. The focus on the night is going to be Matt Lacrosse as he gets the victory. One thing that gets lost in all of this is Dwayne Vincent and E.J. O'Rourke side by side running each other hard for third. Dwayne ends up in the fence. We'll talk about that in a moment, but Jacob, the driver on the losing end of all of that you saw on that white flag lap is only going to be credited tonight with an 18th place finish, and that's the 54 of Austin Yarbrough. Had it so close, not tonight though, and you're with him on pit road.
Yeah, I am. He had it right there, coming down to about the last lap. And Austin, I know you and Matt were running it hard, just scrapping for the win. Talk about that last lap from your point of view. I know he was up. You squeezed him. It looked like a little bit towards the fence, or you were both going for the same piece of real estate. But talk us through the last lap from your point of view. Maybe what you could have done, if there was anything you could have done differently to try and hang on to it.
I would I probably would have moved my line up a little bit to take his line away, but there really wasn't nothing I could do. I down on the bottom and I pushed up into him, and at first I thought he did it on purpose, and then I went back and watched the replay, and he hit off the wall and come down into me. There wasn't much more I could do about it though.
I mean, you guys were running hard, and it looked like you had it. You really got out in front on that last green flag run. You told me about 25 to go. You really needed short runs. Was that race playing out exactly like you'd hoped, or did you need that last run even to be just a couple laps shorter before try and keep him from getting back to you?
Yeah, I was real good in the short run. Dwayne told me to keep saving, and I'm not real good with saving tires at all on this thing. So I just went balls to the walls, and yeah, I kind of wish it was just a couple laps shorter, but it is what it is. I think there was almost about to wreck back there, but one of them saved it, I guess.
Yeah, actually, it was Dwayne behind you that got into the fence there right before the tail end. And, you had a lot of speed tonight. I imagine you got to be pretty peachy with this run, even though it doesn't come out exactly like you'd hoped. Sponsors, shout out to Austin. Who makes it happen for you in the 54 camp?
I thank Cody Kelly for spotting for me every week. I like to thank Dwayne, Vincent, and Adam Benefield for letting me join with them during each race on Monday nights and truck league on Wednesdays. Just everybody that's helped me.
It's been a lot of fun to watch. I know it didn't turn out the way you wanted tonight, but that win's close, and we're looking forward to seeing you get back at it here in the coming races, Austin. Definitely been a lot of fun to watch.
Thank you, sir.
That's Austin Yarborough. You can almost hear a smile there, Evan. Still a very dejected 18th place finish. He thought he had the win, doesn't quite work out. I'm going to throw it a little bit further up pit road. We move to the podium, and Chad Cole comes up third tonight. I believe, Thomas, you're down trackside with him.
Yep, Jacob, I have caught up with a relatively quiet run tonight up into P3 for the current points leader and unofficial points leader after this race, Chad Cole. And you had a quiet night, like I said. We talked about you once or twice, obviously, made through all the craziness of tonight's race. But you managed to bring it home third, and I just got to ask, what was it like watching that battle up ahead of you, or were you fighting to keep that third position from, I can't remember who finished fourth there?
Yeah, I was just kind of waiting for hell to break loose, and it did. I didn't really have anything for Matt or Austin or really even EJ there. These short runs, I just don't get it. But 20, 30 laps, I mean, I'm your guy, and so really, I was hoping that go green there to the end with about 30 to go, and yeah, I just never know when you're gonna get a couple positions there at the end and end up talking to you guys.
Yeah, we were talking about earlier about how these cars drive at a very momentum kind of pace, and it seemed like every time there was a restart, you had to be especially aggressive. And you were talking about, you struggled a little bit on the short runs. How hard was it to actually drive those cars and, save your tires, but at the same time stay aggressive to keep the positions you had?
Yeah, you're right. It's kind of a fine line there because the car is pretty tight, so you need to take care of the right front. But guys are going balls out the first couple laps. I mean, you can just about man it those first two laps, and you really got to choose your poison there. Hopefully, you don't get run over if you're saving tires, or you don't take someone out that is saving tires, because it's a really fine line which strategy you want to choose there. I opt to go with the tire saving strategy. And I know that about got me wrecked in turn 3. I think Dwayne or Jeff Ward was behind me, someone there, and it's tough out here. These guys are tough.
Evidently it is. We see a lot of close competition, but you're probably the most consistent driver out of this whole series. I don't think you've had a finish below 11th, but going back to the week one, and obviously you got the win at Michigan, you got top 10 last week at Iowa, and you get the third place tonight, and it's definitely helping out in the points race. Is that going to be pretty much your strategy throughout the whole thing? Just get the best possible.
Every week, just go out, try to win, and I know some of these nights I'm not going to get a whole lot of practice. Tonight, I think I had about 10 minutes before I went qualifying, and
so we'll finish.
Yeah, that's just able to got some good green runs early and was able to make up positions then. But and also had a good pit stop too, which actually got me a couple positions, and was able to maintain that track position and hold them off. But we're gonna want to get them every week though. No points racing. We want to go for the W's.
That sounds like my kind of driver, but before we let you go back down and get some water from this crazy race, anybody you got to thank tonight here?
Yeah, I got to thank my teammates, Jimmy, David, EJ, and Matt. Matt, congrats on the win. That was I really thought he was going to get him, but battle either way. It's a great battle to watch, I'm sure, for you guys at home watching on TV. And also thanks to LSR. You guys rock doing all. He held him off there. I wish they didn't wreck, but that's an awesome job with the broadcast. Keep up the great work.
All right, thank you, Chad, and good job to you tonight. And Andy, I think you got the second place driver down pit road and EJ O'Rourke after last week's winner.
That's right. I am down here with last week's winner. You follow up last week's win at Iowa with the second place finish here at Atlanta. A great job, a great run for you, EJ, and you were able to start in the top 10. You worked your way to the top 5 early, and you stayed right there all race long. Did you have anything for those two guys there at the end?
I felt like on the long run I was a lot better than Austin, but he was really good on the short run. And Matt and I were about the same on the short run and the long run. I was seeing to reel him in, but I couldn't really do anything. But definitely want to apologize to Dwayne Vincent. He's a good friend of mine. I enjoy racing with him. I didn't look at the replay yet, but either way, I hate having something happen to one of these guys so close to the end. And I like Dwayne a lot, and just want to apologize to him.
I'm sure knowing Dwayne and the champion that he is, he'll get over it pretty soon. A pretty good night for you and your teammates. 1, 2, 3 finish for all three of you. The consistency has been there all season long. Chad leading the points, and you yourself with some good runs. And now to see Matt in victory lane, it's been a pretty good season for you guys.
Yeah, it's been really good. Coming off a win last week, second here is really good for the Gary Mercer Trucking Chevrolet. Just missed it by one spot, but I'll take second any day here.
There you have it. We go into the Christmas break here now. Obviously, we get back at it again next week, but we get to enjoy some holiday time with our family. But one more shout out. Who gets it done for you?
Well, Merry Christmas to everyone, and I hope everyone enjoys their Christmas and their New Year. But thanks to Real Sim Racing, Gary Mercer Trucking, LSRTV, Papa's Hardware, everyone that works on this team. I enjoy racing with them every week, and we'll see what we can do on this off week, and let's have some fun.
There you have it. Congratulations again, second place finish here tonight for EJ, and we'll see you next week. And we'll move it down to victory lane now. Finally, a big win for the 21 car, and Evans caught up with him.
That one came down to the wire, and it really all ended with just half a lap to go in this race. At a driver that's on the winning end of that exchange behind the wheel of the 21, the U of M, the Wolverine Chevrolet, gets to victory lane. Matt Lacrosse, your winner at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. And Matt, congratulations to you picking up that W. You were closing and closing and closing. You made it another one of those classic Atlanta finishes. When you got there, you guys were plastered, though, on each other's door for about 2 laps before it all broke out down the back straightaway. I'm assuming not a whole lot of lifting during that exchange.
No, not at all. My hope was that he would try to take my line away and not do it very well. And he blocked me once. I had a huge run on him off the corner. I think it was like 2 or 3 to go. I had a huge run, and he blocked me. And I was like, all right, well, I'll just wait till the last lap because I don't want to have to do the same thing to him. And I know he's a super, super aggressive driver. So I was trying to be really, really careful with him. And I didn't want to get in front of him too early because I know he's just aggressive. And see, on that last lap, he tried to take my entry into one away, but I was able to get up on the top, and I was trying to hold him, and he bumped me a little bit and kind of got me sideways, and then got me kind of into the wall. Then I turned the wheel to the left, so I didn't hit the wall, and then it grazed off the wall and hit him, and I felt really bad because I think it'd have been a really, really, really good finish had we been able to finish that lap out.
To be fair, it still was a really, really, really good finish at all of that. And for you, it ends up on a positive end to be able to pick up the W here. There was a lot of unknowns, and I know a lot of people were looking forward to this race, the way it all went down. There were so many yellows, though, late in this race. How are you prepared, though, to keep going at those couple of short stints because restarts were at such a premium in those final 25 laps?
My car was actually better on the shorter run than I think most people were. Austin was really good on the shorter run because he was like running hot laps. I mean, he was just running. He would have faded had that when he took the lead the first time. Had that caution not come out, I think I would have had no problem passing him. But on that short little 10-lap sprint, yeah, the caution sucked, but they kind of helped me out in the same regard because I'm pretty decent at the little short runs. I'm getting better at the long runs. That's what kills me, and I've lost races in the past because I can't get the long run down like you. Wednesday night, Chad, he's better on the long runs, not the short runs. So maybe I need to get with my teammate and maybe we can talk about it.
And I believe when we were listening onto the radio with the 54 as well, coming up to some of those final restarts, he also said that he was enjoying the short run. So you guys were able to go head-to-head at that, and it all came down to the last lap there. A lot of contact, and you guys, I mean, really just good hard racing to the end, and it was an exciting finish for you. You pick up the W, and you're keeping them honest. Second top 10 in a row, third on the season, first top 5, and obviously your first trip to victory lane through 4 races. You satisfied so far with what you've been doing?
Yeah, as long as it's a complete 360 from, or complete 180, sorry, 360 is a real circle. A complete 180 from the Full Throttle Cup season. I had the worst season ever. I think I had like 2 top 5s. It's either I couldn't get out of my own way or I couldn't get out of anybody else's way. I was wrecked almost every race. I finished like 5 races, I think, so it was bad. So this is good. In the truck series, I'm doing pretty decent too. So I'm just glad to keep the momentum going, and hopefully I can keep the momentum going through the winter and onto the beginning of Full Throttle Cup next year.
And we really keep on going because Christmas just a couple of days away. No off weeks, though, in this series. We go right along to next Monday at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Kind of interested on the schedule that it took 4 weeks to get to one of these intermediate tracks, and we go to an extremely unique facility to the Brickyard next week for 65 laps. It's a tough place to race. These cars are always momentum-based. It's going to be something that you guys have to keep in mind every single time you go down a corner there at the Brickyard because it's always, I think, more of a strategy-based, and it's a very difficult race to drive at as opposed to one that's going to be thrilling and flashing, maybe kind of like what we saw at the end of this one. What are you guys looking forward to that one?
I'm pretty indifferent about Indy. I don't hate it, but I really don't love it, so we'll unload there and we'll go and just see what we got. I usually run pretty decent there. Just try to stay out of trouble, try to hit your marks. You gotta have a lot of focus when you're there because those walls in the turns, they sneak up on you quick. So yeah, I'm pretty optimistic about it. We'll see how we do.
One more opportunity, want to pass you to Mike. Sponsors, shout-outs, people behind the scenes. Who makes this happen for you?
Well, tonight I want to thank Chad Cole and EJ O'Rourke. We're on the radio a lot, talking strategy and giving each other room, and it was really good racing with those guys. And I really want to apologize to Austin. Didn't do it on purpose, but I thank Quick Car Race Products. They've been with me since my first day on here, and go Wolverines. Put them on car for the entire Icebreaker series, and then thank you guys up in the booth. You guys do an outstanding job. Laura, Jacob, Evan. Oh, the closer. You guys got work in pit road apparently, and Laura.
We're gonna hear the end of that.
And so yeah, just in this great league, we have a great league here, and a lot of good racers, a lot of good guys, and look forward to many more wins. Hopefully, if I can stop screwing myself over.
I'm not sure if it's any consolation, Matt, but I am wearing U of M sweatpants, so maybe I'll take a little bit of the credit there for boosting across the end there. But again, congratulations. It's your 10th career RSR win tonight. Back on track. Merry Christmas. Enjoy the rest of this week, but we'll see you back next Monday night.
All right, thanks, guys. Merry Christmas, everybody, too. Thanks.
Matt Lacrosse, your big winner at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. He puts the University of Michigan Wolverine Chevrolet Camaro in victory lane. And I think in both of those late race pieces of contact, we're talking about Lacrosse and Yarbrough, O'Rourke and Vincent. Pretty much just clean, hard racing at the end. I don't think you can ask much more from these guys in this RSR Icebreaker Winter Series. Back topside with you, Jacob, for a look at the full finishing results from tonight's Atlanta 125.
Indeed, Evan, and just for the record, I'll throw a little barb out to Matt Lacrosse. I am a dyed-in-the-wool Michigan State University fan, and
are you wearing U of M sweatpants though? That's my question.
Not a chance, Pasoko. Not a chance. The arch rival team is in the college football playoff, but I digress. Matt Lacrosse gets the win. EJ O'Rourke second. Chad Cole, Anthony DeBarro, and Mike Kelly the top 5. Tyler Herr, how about that run for one of the LSRTV 2 machines? Runs all the way to 6th. William Amaker 7th. Cisco Scaramuzza, like his teammate, charges late, finishes 8th, and a double top 10 for the Agus Motorsports bunch. Tom Dreierling 9th, and how about Rhett McBride grabbing a top 10 in the closing stages of that one, Andy?
I'd also think that all things considered, how about a good night for Jimmy North? That 84 was doing really good, got caught in an accident, looked like he was done. He brings that Federated Auto Parts Chevy home. P11 just behind him. Jeff Ward in 12th, Dwayne Vincent 13th, 14th, and Nicholas Orthid. Paul Fugate in 15th position tonight. 16th was David Comstock, final driver on the lead lap. In 17th position was Greg Omo. Austin Yarbrough, 1 lap down in 18th position at the end of this one. 19th for the 22 of Douglas White, and then Jason Swan through 20th.
Yeah, 21st, Doug Roth, 7 down. Dale Rentz, 22nd. Nick Silver had a strong run for so much of that race. Ran inside the top 10. Gets caught up in a late race accident. Finishes 23rd. Brian Terry, 24th after a couple of skirmishes with the William Hale machine. 25th to Daniel Eberhardt, the pole sitter who led so much of the early stages of this race. Corbin Himstreet, 26th. 27th, Joseph LaPlaca. 28th, Scott Eckridge. 29th, Mike Romiger. 30th, Kevin Linden. And then other cars out of this race very early on. Mike Montesi, Stephanie Lessentine, Adam Benefiel, William Hale, and Nelson Rivera, the 35-car field. That's a look at your full field rundown, powered by iRacing, the world leader in motorsports simulation. And right now, they certainly have helped us put on a show tonight, Evan. They call it Hotlanta for a reason. What a finish.
It was hot out there. The action was hot for sure. Atlanta just has a nick for giving us these kind of finishes, and tonight was one of those nights as well. Matt Lacrosse, mono Austin Yarbrough. It was kind of a story all night, too, of the veterans dominating, but a couple of rookies, a couple of young guns spiced in there. Yarbrough made them work for it, and it was a really good note, I guess, at the end for one, and the lowest of lows you can get for the guy on the losing end of that. But I think all in all, we're in agreement that is exactly what you want to see. 2 sets of guys not giving up for the win, giving it every single thing that they had. That's what we've seen through 4 races, and that's what we'll see through the next 6 as we crown a 4th Icebreaker Winter Series champion. A little bit later on, though, through 2016 in this Winter Series, and then we get set for 2016 Full Throttle Cup action. It's nonstop on Monday nights, and it was nonstop tonight, Andy. I thought it was a blast.
Yeah, it was good. It was a great race to have here right before the Christmas break. Or I don't know if it's really a break because we'll be back here next Monday, so the series doesn't really get a night off. But
everybody but us has a night off.
And looking forward to it. Much needed break for a lot of us, but right back into it again next Monday night at Indy, and the series just keeps on rolling, and lots of storylines just keep happening week after week, and I think it's just a matter of time we see that 54 in victory lane.
Much like Iowa, Thomas, Indianapolis is a track that a lot of guys love and a lot of guys hate. Matt Lacrosse is indifferent to it. What are you thinking?
I think it's one of those tracks where certain drivers just take an automatic liking to it, and it's same with. It's almost like Darlington. You know, some guys just are able to thrive there. Some guys just can never really figure it out. But it's going to be a good race there, and during this Christmas break, we'll at least get to have some time there with our families before we head there. And for me at least, and my teammates over at Steel Horse, we wish you a Merry Christmas this coming week.
Christmas just a couple of days away, and we promised our executive producer Laura Lawson that we'd wrap up before the winter solstice, which is about 8 minutes away. So we're going to get things wrapped up here, and we do hope that everybody enjoys the week off. I know we will, because the next time we'll be on is going to be next Monday night from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway with some more RSR Icebreaker Winter Series action. Until then, a big thanks to everybody behind the scenes and all the partners at RSR: Gary Mercer, TrunkyDimeRacing.com, Inside Sim Racing TV, DisabledRacers.com, Derek Spear Designs, and Race Chaser Online. For more information, go to RealSimRacing.com. Also, search up Real Sim Racing on Facebook. Make sure to give them a like. Also, encourage you to follow us on our social media. That'll be Facebook.com/LiveSimRacingTV, as well online. A full broadcast schedule could be found at LiveSimRacing.com. Until next time, we'll see you at the Brickyard next Monday night. But for the final time in this fall season, we'll call it, to be officially get winter underway, and one more race left on the 2015 racing calendar next Monday night. We bid you good night from the Atlanta Motor Speedway. On behalf of everybody at LSRTV, thanks for tuning in, and congratulations to Matt Lacrosse. But for Evan Pasoko, Jacob Seelman, Andy Kessler, Thomas George, and Laura Lawson, Merry Christmas, and we'll see you next Monday.